Sean was a pirate, sure, but he wasn't the kind of pirate that doesn't understand anything. He only needed one look at those people that were kicked down to notice that not even one of them was swimming in the ocean. That could only mean they were all killed by this person. Sean was a pirate, sure, but he wasn't the kind of pirate that doesn't understand anything. He only needed one look at those people that were kicked down to notice that not even one of them was swimming in the ocean. That could only mean they were all killed by this person. Compared to pirates, this man killed much faster. The pirates would first show off a bit and try to scare those whom they were about to kill, yet for this man killing seemed as easy as taking a breath. His face didn't even change one bit, as though killing was completely normal to him. Thinking about this, Sean kneeled to the ground uncontrollably. He was a pirate, and sure, he could kill people, but that didn't mean he didn't fear death. Mo didn't bother with Sean, and nodded at Eden, who climbed up. Then he looked back at Silver, who appeared. Qingxue, why do you have a big bird following you? Ning Qingxue woke up from her joy of the reunion with Mo and recounted what had happened at the Sulphur Island. Mo was shocked listening to this. If Ning Qingxue hadn't acted so fast, then she would have been dead because of the power of nature, and he wouldn't even be able to get revenge for her. Seeing Mo worry, Ning Qingxue quickly grabbed his hand and said, "Those things are over. My greatest fortune now is to be able to see you again. Sorry about last time." Mo smiled and stopped Ning Qingxue from talking. He didn't blame her. He knew Ning Qingxue well, and he couldn't blame her for that, seeing how she'd lost her memories. Ning Qingxue was actually more emotional than him. He could tell from how she went to the flowing snake desert and to Shin-Nong-Jia. Once she was in love, she wouldn't even care about life. She was a very extreme person, at least when it came to love. When she had been willing to accept Luoying, Mo had completely accepted her. Usually, those extreme girls wouldn't be able to tolerate other women being with their man. But after hearing Mo's words and knowing that she was the one who came later, she wondered instead whether Luoying would accept her, and not whether she could accept Mo. To most people living in this era, her decision would seem unacceptable, yet she hadn't hesitated at all. Although this was due to her family's influence, it was still heavily related to her immense love for Mo. This was why Mo loved her so much. She was very similar to him in this aspect. If it weren't for his master, Luoying, Mo believed that Ning Qingxue would be the best partner for him. The longer he stayed with her, the more he was melted by her love. Other than Mo, no one knew Ning Qingxue had this passionate side to her. Perhaps in other people's eyes, she was a prideful and cold person, but Mo knew that that was because others didn't understand her. Mo saw that Eden went to find a rope to tie up Sean. Sean was helpless and could only cooperate. "You call it Silver? That's a strange name." Mo pointed at Silver, who cowered behind Ning Qingxue's back, and asked. Silver seemed to know that Mo also had that chi that he liked on Ning Qingxue, but Mo was more powerful, so it didn't dare near Mo. Ooh. Because I saw a silver plum leaf pattern on her chest, I called her Silver. Ning Qingxue leaned on Mo's side and said, "Silver plum leaf." Mo suddenly reached out his hand and grabbed this big bird, investigating its chest. Silver immediately whimpered upon being grabbed by Mo. Ning Qingxue saw that there was also anger in its eyes and quickly patted it, saying, "Don't worry, he won't harm you." Mo put down Silver and frowned. "Can you see something?" "I feel like it looks like an eagle," Ning Qingxue said. Mo shook his head. "It's not an eagle. Eagles wouldn't be like this. It looks more like the mythical blue phoenix to me." Seeing Ning Qingxue confusion, Mo explained, "This is just my guess. I'm not basing it on anything much. But it's said that the blue phoenix is a bird born for love. They spend their entire lives searching for their fated counterpart. They are born from the world and have a silver plum leaf pattern on its chest, implying that its birth might be related to the silver plum leaf. I just grabbed it and it chirped in anger because it's a female bird. Blue phoenix's plumage are supposed to be blue like the sky, though. This bird is different. Hearing Yi Mo say that it was female, Silver chirped in anger again, as though protesting. Ning Qingxue quickly took it in her arms, and it finally calmed it down. Qingxue, why are there so many minor ghosts on that ship? Yi Mo immediately saw clearly what was on Ning Qingxue's ship. You can see them? Ning Qingxue asked in shock. She also knew that ship wasn't clean but couldn't see anything. Yi Mo nodded. Your power is still low, but when you reach stage 3 of Qi Gathering, you will be able to see minor ghosts too. Right now, you're only at the peak of stage 1. Ning Qingxue finally understood why she couldn't see anything, but didn't ask why there was one black shadow she could see. She would tell Yi Mo about it later. Those minor ghosts didn't do anything to me. I think we can just let it go, Ning Qingxue said. Eden found the spare time to walk up to Yi Mo and put up his thumb. Your wife is so much prettier than my Daphne. You're really amazing. This is the first time I've seen such a beautiful woman. Yi Mo didn't answer Eden's words and walked up to Sean and slapped him on the head. Then he told Eden, ask him what he's doing here and where his base is. Sean didn't have the guts to hide anything and spilled everything. Eden was starting to get the picture soon, but before he could explain to Yi Mo, Ning Qingxue already said, that Sean guy said they came to find their leader. They belong to the Skull Pirate Organization and have been planning to hijack the biggest luxury cruiser Bima and bring large amounts of wealth and women to their base for half a year already. But halfway through, there was some mist, and the two ships were separated. Eden didn't expect Yi Mo's wife's English to be this good. Her translation was spot on. Ning Qingxue continued, when Sean brought the women and wealth back to their base on Pengshi Island, they found out that their leader hadn't come back. They left the wealth and women at the island and came out searching for their leader. Then they met me here because the ship I was on belongs to their leader. Qingxue, how come you were on that ship in the first place? Also, what happened that day? I know you went to find your mom, and she's fine now, so don't worry about it, Yi Mo said. My mom's fine. Ning Qingxue's heart felt relieved. Although she hadn't mentioned it out loud, her worry for her mother was always there. Even though her mother had told her to avoid contact with Yi Mo, she was still her mother. Not to mention, her mother wasn't trying to harm her. Seeing Yi Mo nod, Ning Qingxue recounted everything that had happened after she boarded the plane. Yi Mo nodded. This was pretty much conformed to what he had investigated. Eden was still shocked. He wouldn't have expected the Japanese to be bold enough to do something like this, abducting this many scientists. Everything was pretty much clear now, other than how the leader had disappeared. Ning Qingxue knew a little about how the leader disappeared, but she didn't say anything. Yi Mo gave Eden a look and said, you can give this information to the Pentagon. I believe they will be interested. Although Yi Mo really wanted to go eradicate that Black Sun Empire, his joy of seeing Ning Qingxue made him just want to bring her back and not go around fighting anymore. Letting the Americans fight the Japanese was more ideal. I would still like to save Daphne, and since you're this powerful, Eden looked hesitantly at Yi Mo. He knew Yi Mo was strong, but Yi Mo had found who he was looking for already. He didn't know if Yi Mo would be willing to help him find Daphne. Yi Mo, of course, knew what Eden meant. Although he didn't want to go to that Pengshi Island, Eden was a good person. Even after being hit by a cannon, he didn't run away with the boat. They were both here to find people. He couldn't just brush it off and leave after getting what he wanted. Ning Qingxue looked at Yi Mo in confusion. Yi Mo told Eden's story to her, looking at Eden's pleading eyes. Ning Qingxue thought that Eden must be feeling quite similar to how she had felt the Eden before. Yi Mo only needed to look briefly at Ning Qingxue to know that she agreed to him saving Daphne. Yi Mo only needed to look briefly at Ning Qingxue to know that she agreed to him saving Daphne. He immediately turned around and told Eden, "In that case, come on the fishing ship. This ship isn't too convenient." Sean looked at Yi-Mo with fear and said, "This ship has motors too." Eden quickly translated Sean's words. Yi-Mo waved his hand and said, "Then, Eden, tell Sean to pilot the boat and not to try to play any tricks on us." Although he didn't know the location of the Pengshir Island, Sean still piloted the boat for 2 days and said there was still some way to go. Yi-Mo realized that the island was indeed in the middle of nowhere. On the third day, Eden suddenly ran to Yi-Mo to tell him that he had found the U.S. patrol ships with the radar aboard. Yi-Mo could guess that these ships had probably come to find the missing Bima, but since the pirate ship had managed to scan them, this meant that they must have also discovered their own ship. "Oh, Eden, what do you think?" Yi-Mo asked Eden. He knew that Eden would probably want to contact the U.S. Navy and use them to annihilate the pirates. Eden immediately said excitedly, "Of course, contact them immediately. With their help, not only can we save Daphne, but also other people. What is more, the Japanese shenanigans will be exposed." Although Eden knew that Yi-Mo was very good at fighting alone, he felt the U.S. Navy was more reliable when it came to going to the Pirates' Cove. Yi-Mo nodded, agreeing with him. "Okay, Eden, control Sean, and then take the ship towards the U.S. Navy. In fact, we don't need to go to them. As long as we don't avoid them, they will come over." "Okay, I was also thinking that too. Why control Sean, though? He doesn't dare to do anything with you here." Eden asked with curiosity. Yi-Mo shook his head. "No, I'm about to leave with my wife. I hate the U.S. Navy. Goodbye." "But if you drive the ship away, will I have to go on the lifeboat and row from there?" Eden cried. He was kicked off the boat many times, and so he thought Yi-Mo was kicking him off the boat again. Yi-Mo smiled and patted Eden's shoulder. "Of course not. I'll take the lifeboat. You don't need to. Keep piloting the ship until you meet with the Navy. Hurry up and control Sean." At first, he thought Yi-Mo was joking, but he didn't see any signs of humor in his expression. Eden gulped and said, "Are you serious?" Yi-Mo pushed Eden. "Yes, hurry up." After Eden finished controlling Sean, he found Yi-Mo with his wife, and that bird standing on a small inflatable raft. Eden didn't have time to think where Yi-Mo had got that raft from. He simply said, "It's too dangerous for you to go like that in the middle of the sea. I'll take you with the ship. Get on." But as soon as he said that, the raft started to move very fast and was immediately gone. "I don't even know your name yet," Eden called out. But Yi-Mo's raft was gone. "It's like he is an angel god sent to save me." Eden got immersed in his imaginations and quickly stood at the head of the ship making a cross on his chest. Ning Qingxue didn't know why Yi-Mo had left the ship, but she didn't ask anything. To her, being with Yi-Mo was the most important thing. Yi-Mo held Ning Qingxue in his arms. "We don't need this raft anymore. Let's go." Ning Qingxue's body softened as Yi-Mo held her. In that moment, she was sure that she was really with Yi-Mo and that it wasn't a dream. Perhaps Yi-Mo had taken her to the raft to be alone with her and have an intimate moment. But even if Yi-Mo took her to float over the ocean, she wouldn't mind. She was just really, really happy she was with Yi-Mo. She didn't feel the need to keep her mannerisms. She felt she could rely on Yi-Mo. She put her arms around him. In that moment, she actually thought of the 2 primitive people she had seen on the island, and her body started to warm up. However, Yi-Mo grabbed Silver, summoned his flying sword, and took off into the sky. Silver saw that Yi-Mo could fly and immediately laid on Yi-Mo's shoulder, chirping crisply. Ning Qingxue was woken up by this loud and clear chirp. She looked up and saw she was still in Yi-Mo's arms but standing on a huge sword. This sword was flying in the air at a very fast speed. "Ah!" Ning Qingxue exclaimed subconsciously. The fire in her body went away. Was she still dreaming? Otherwise, how could she be flying? If she was dreaming, she hoped that she would never wake up. Yi Mo felt Ning Qingshue's changing positions and shaking, so he held her tightly. Then he said slowly, "Qingxue, don't worry, I'm at the qi gathering middle stage, and I was lucky enough to gather the materials for making a flying sword. That's why I can fly, so don't be scared." Ning Qingxue stared at Yi Mo with surprise and joy. "Are you saying this isn't a dream? This is real?" Yi Mo caressed Ning Qingshue's hair, and then said, "Of course this isn't a dream. I won't let anyone harm you again. Those two Taoists from Tai, I won't allow them to get away just like that. And actually, ever since meeting you, nothing else matters. I feel like I'm dreaming. I'm actually flying." Ning Qingxue murmured. Her hands held Yi Mo tighter. She couldn't even tell if this was real or fake. "Qingxue, there's something I want to tell you, but Yi Mo was hesitant. He really wanted to tell Ning Qingxue about Susu. Although he had told her that there was Luo Ying from his past life, but he didn't expect her to be Ning Qingshue's aunt. Yi Mo didn't know what to say. Although this aunt wasn't related to her by blood, it was still her aunt. In a country where customs are taken very seriously like China, Yi Mo knew it was an important matter. If it was on Luo Yu continent, this would be very normal. Ning Qingxue saw Yi Mo hesitate and smiled. She kissed Yi Mo on the cheek and said, "You already say I'm your woman. Why are you still hesitating?" Seeing Ning Qingxue like this, Yi Mo made up his mind. "Last time I told you I have someone I love from my past life. She's called Luo Ying. I already found her." Ning Qingxue was dazed and immediately said, "Did you find Sister Luo Ying? Is she all right?" Yi Mo knew Ning Qingxue wanted to ask if Luo Ying would accept her, but she just asked if she was okay. Yi Mo nodded. "She's doing well, but due to some misunderstanding, she has left for a while." But what? Ning Qingxue saw Yi Mo acting like that and began to worry. She was afraid Luo Ying didn't like her. Yi Mo bit his teeth and said, "Luo Ying is your auntie, Susu, so Ning Qingxue froze. She didn't expect it to be her auntie. That day, when she had seen her auntie come out from the tent with Yi Mo, she had had this feeling. Now that Yi Mo said it himself, she knew her premonition had been accurate. "Auntie?" Ning Qingxue repeated subconsciously. Her mind was a little chaotic. Although her auntie wasn't blood-related, she didn't know how to feel about having married the same man as her auntie. Looking at Ning Qingxue, Yi Mo sighed. "Sorry, Qingxue. I really didn't expect things would be like this. There are many things that I can't tell you now, but those things really can't be controlled by humans." Seeing Yi Mo say this with heavy expression, Ning Qingxue suddenly felt better. Why should she worry about this? Susu wasn't her biological auntie. When she had been about to die, she had made up her mind that no matter what, as long as she could see Yi Mo, she would give up everything. In that case, why should care about this small thing? Thinking about this, Ning Qingxue suddenly put her arms around Yi Mo's neck, while she reached her tongue stiffly into Yi Mo's mouth. Yi Mo got happy because Qingxue's reaction. He could see that she didn't even care about it. His reply was also a little stiff. Both were new to this. Ning Qingxue's body became softer and softer. Yi Mo's heart also burned with fire. If they hadn't been in the air, perhaps both of them wouldn't have been able to control it. Silver chirped unhappily on the side, as though it felt unhappy for being ignored. Yi Mo also got focused. He thought of Luo Ying. Although he had accepted Qingxue, he couldn't do things that would betray Luo Ying before he found her. "Thank you, Qingxue." Yi Mo hugged Ning Qingxue tightly. Ning Qingxue shook her head and said quietly, "When I got back my memories, I made up my mind. No matter what, I can lose anything but you. Sister Susu has no blood relations with me, but even if she were my real auntie, I think I wouldn't want to leave you." Yi Mo's heart beat quickly. It was wounded with many holes by Ning Qingxue's words. He knew Qing Xue was extremely emotional, but he didn't expect her love for him to be this unrelenting. Perhaps when she said this, she hadn't thought about the consequences. But this love that didn't consider consequences made Yi Mo feel her persistence and also have a heavy burden in Yi Mo's heart. As Luo Yu grew bigger, almost all the pharmaceutical companies could buy the company's shares. Even if they weren't a subcontractor, they could get benefits out of it due to being related to their own subcontractor, except Yuanbei Corporation. As Luo Yu grew bigger, almost all the pharmaceutical companies could buy the company's shares. Even if they weren't a subcontractor, they could get benefits out of it due to being related to their own subcontractor, except Yuanbei Corporation. Not only their young CEO had failed at being selected, he was also called names and kicked out. He had become a joke. Not only a joke in the pharmaceutical industry, but also a joke among civilians. If Yuanbei's problems could be helped, they still wouldn't be the #1 pharmaceutical corporation in Asia. What is more, even if Yuanbei could, their young CEO couldn't. But Yuanbei no longer needed to resist it anymore, because Luo Yu had raged at them first. They seemed to have great enmity with Yuanbei. Not only did they kick Yuan Qibing out of the conference in front of the whole world, they also said that those who collaborate with Yuanbei Corporation will not be accepted in Luo Yu. Bam! Yuan Qibing slammed the table. Before their corporation could do anything, this newcomer had dared to set them up. It was outrageous. What made him angrier was that the men his father had sent to capture Ning Qingxue happened to be on the plane that had gone missing. Luo Yu, okay. Since I can't have Ning Qingxue, I will use you Miaodong instead. Although you're a bit old, but it makes you dirtier in bed. Yuan Qibing's tone was cold. The veins in his head popped out. A man in his 50s walked in, saying calmly, Bing, you're too impetuous. Behind him, there was a middle-aged man of medium build in his 40s. Yuan Qibing quickly got up. Dad. Uncle Ping, you're here? The man in his 50s was the CEO of Yuanbei Corporation, Yuan Jirong. Uncle Ping was Yuan Jirong's right hand. Many years ago, Yuan Jirong had saved Che Weiping from death. In order to pay back this debt, Che Weiping pretty much sold his life to Yuan Zihairong and changed his name to Yuan, becoming Yuan Weiping. Yuan Jirong sat down and said, It's said people plan things, and the heavens decide about them. This failure is just bad luck, not a misplay on our side. But I'm surprised that a mere company like Luo Yu dares to attack us. They are just newcomers. How dare they attack us? Dad, do they have very strong support? Yuan Qibing calmed down. His annoyance was truly due to the loss of Ning Qingxue. Yuan Jirong shook his head. I told Weiping to investigate. He didn't find any strong governmental support. There are 2 CEOs in Luo Yu. One is Zhang Jiayan, a retired soldier. However, Yu Miaodong's origin was a bit strange. Up until now, I still haven't found out where she comes from. The only concern is that recently Yi Ling of the Yi family appeared in Flowing Snake. This Yi Ling might be related to Luo Yu's higher-ups. Perhaps the reason Fei Yu was chosen was because of Yi Ling. Yuan Qibing was dazed. Beijing's Yi family? They are supporting Luo Yu. Doesn't that mean we can't get revenge on Luo Yu? He was thinking that if the Yi family protected Luo Yu, then it would be hard to get Yu Miaodong to bed. Although the Yi family wasn't as big as before, it was still significant. Yuan Jirong shook his head. Yi Ling is nothing to worry about. She can't represent the Yi family. She's representing herself. What is more, the Yi family can't even cope with themselves, much less with Luo Yu. If the Yi family was involved in pharmaceutics, then we would need to be careful, but they aren't. Yuan Qibing nodded. He understood what his father meant. It said that there was an internal conflict going on in the Yi family. Yi Weiqi and Yi Weijin, who both had high positions in Beijing, had been kicked out. Yi Wenqi died in less than half a year. Plus, the old man, Yi Beirong, had retired, and the Yi family has no successful younger generation. They could only push Yi Zifeng, who was in his 20s, to be the new family leader. So, although the Yi family still had the name of the five big families of China, it was declining. But even so, they weren't something the Yuan family could compare with. Luo Yu is acting like a little kid, saying that those who cooperate with us will be excluded from cooperation with them. Do they think that they can win like this? Yuan Jirong sneered. Yuan Qibing opened his mouth. He was about to make a statement, saying that those who collaborate with Luo Yu would also never be considered by Yuan Bi. Now, that his father put it like that, it was indeed immature. But then, Yuan Jirong seemed not to see his son's expression, and continued. Bing, you can also make a statement saying that those who collaborate with Luo Yu will never be considered by Yuan Bei. Dad, this way, won't we be as immature as Luo Yu? You just said. Although he wanted to say that, he felt his father's words were right. They can't deal with things immaturely like that. Immature? I will let them know that we're also as immature as them. I want to see who can be more immature. Yuan Jirong sneered. Then he continued, Weiping spread immediately a few rumors denigrating the beauty pill. At the same time, also spread a few rumors saying that those who take the healthy pill will lose organ functions. We must have specialists prove this as well. I will contact the Department of Hygiene and Medicine. If can't destroy them completely, I won't need to do business anymore. At the same time, I will let journalists go promote for Luo Yu. Weiping, you need to remember, you must make the victim believe that it's due to the pills we can't buy this favor. Dad, are you saying that we should pretend we're immature, and that we want to fight with Luo Yu, but then secretly attack from behind? Yuan Qibing had a surprised look on his face. Although he also wanted to do this, he felt it was harsh. Father would use the government and the media together, and then use victims to step on Luo Yu. This was much easier. Then, Yuan Qibing suddenly thought of the Yi family. Although they were on decline, it still was something the Yuan family should mess with. Thinking about this, Yuan Qibing immediately said, Dad, if the Yi family... Yuan Jirong waved his hand and said, Binger, just do as I tell you. Yi family won't help Luo Yu. Even if they do, they will be dealt with. Furthermore, the current Yi family leader, Yi Zifeng, is very conservative. It is highly unlikely they will intervene in this, but I really hope they do. Yuan Jirong sneered. In him, Yuan Qibing saw the face of being a mastermind. This gave Yuan Qibing a huge confidence boost. He felt he still needed to learn a lot from his father. Dad, last time you sent people to Flowing Snake, then... Yuan Qibing thought of the two things his father had said last time and couldn't help feel his dad had planned this all along. Yuan Jirong waved his hand. Your Uncle Ping will take care of this. You don't need to worry about it. Compared to Yuan Bei Corporation schemes, Yu Miaodong seemed calm. Even if Yi Mo didn't call back, she was planning to attack the Yuan Bei Corporation, and with more reason if Yi Mo called for her to target them. So the day Yi Mo called, Yu Miaodong immediately held a high-level meeting. Yang Jiu had accomplished a lot recently and was allowed in this meeting. But as soon as he came, he said something that shocked everyone. It was that he and Han Zai would go kill the Yuan family father and son. To be honest, although Zhang Jiayan and they didn't like Yang Jiu's suggestion, Yu Miaodong was touched. It would indeed be a clean cut if they did it. She came from the mafia, so she didn't mind that. But Zhang Jiayan came from the military, and he strongly rejected this. I feel that recently there have been a lot of anonymous people appearing in Flowing Snake. They all seem to be investigating our corporate secrets. I think it's important to attack the Yuan Bei Corporation, but it's also important to protect our corporate secrets. Su Ping said carefully. He wasn't Earth level yet, only Black level middle stage. Although he had a chi increasing pill, he needed to reach Black level peak before he could use it. The reason he was this careful was that he had found a lot of ancient martial artists amongst the people who had come to Flowing Snake. He didn't mention this fearing to cause panic. Does Brother Su also feel this way? In fact, I've long been feeling this too. I feel like we need to establish a system in Flowing Snake. Otherwise, this is too chaotic. Random people can come in and out of Flowing Snake casually, said Yu Miaodan, frowning. Zhang Jian sighed. Establish a system? Flowing Snake is the borderland between 3 countries. 80% of our land belongs to Lucé and 20% belongs to Vietnam. If we overtly rule there, then we're declaring independence. Neither Lucé nor Vietnam would allow this. Can we fight against 2 countries? Mo Hai sighed. In fact, I'm afraid we've already caught the attention of those 2 countries. Flowing Snake was a barren place before, but now it's getting more and more prosperous. I feel like Lucé is about to do something. However, Yi Qianbei still hasn't come back yet. I wanted to mention it, but I didn't know what to do. After Mo Hai's words, it was deadly silent. Neither Yu Miaodan nor Zhang Jian spoke. It wasn't that they hadn't thought about it, but they hadn't expected Luo Yu to prosper that rapidly and have people preying on it. After Mo Hai's words, it was deadly silent. Neither Yu Miaodan nor Zhang Jian spoke. It wasn't that they hadn't thought about it, but they hadn't expected Luo Yu to prosper that rapidly and have people preying on it. If it was just a person, a corporation, or even a gang, it really wouldn't matter. But if it was 2 countries, could a small corporation put a fight against 2 countries? Furthermore, legally, it was their land. Seeing the atmosphere get tense, Yu Miaodan waved her hands and said, "Let's not talk about this for now. Let's talk about the Yuan Bei Corporation. That's easy. They think they're an older pharmaceutical brand and don't consider us on their level. It's very easy for us to cripple them." Mo Hai spoke. Seeing everyone look at him, Mo Hai continued, "Their core product is called the Heart Safety Serum. The main ingredient for this is Jiwu. There are very few amounts of it anyway, so we can mass buy Jiwu and make them short on supply. Secondly, the other main product of theirs is called Dew Powder. It's a skin whitening product. Although our beauty pill is countless times better than that, we have no advantages in terms of price. If we push out a similar product that using the beauty pill's name, the Dew Powder would be no match for us." Hearing this, Yu Miaodan sighed. Mo Hai had grasped the core for defeating Yuan Bei Corporation. Although Luo Yu had a lot of talent, they didn't have a single commercial expert like Mo Hai, who knew all about the industry situation. To be honest, even she had started out as a gangster. They couldn't keep going like that. She needed to hire new talents. Hong Kong, Suyu Hotel. It was Su Yuehua's hotel. It was very significant to have a 5-star hotel in Hong Kong. Su Yuehua had been fighting in Hong Kong for about 20 years, so she had 7 of these in Hong Kong and mainland China. 3 of them were 5-star hotels. Ever since Lu Si had come to join her, she had indeed investigated the Fu family's 4 brothers and knew it was the best time to join Yi Mo. After this, perhaps even if she wanted to change her mind, Yi Mo wouldn't want her anymore. Although her capabilities were good, she could tell with her experience that Yi Mo didn't like people who kept changing minds. She was 36 now, and if she wasted time, she would get old soon. She already had money that she couldn't even finish spending, but what's the point of earning that much money? She suspected that Yi Mo was already great heaven level. If Yi Mo really was great heaven, then it would be very easy for him to get revenge for her. Su Yuehua clenched her fists. She decided to contact Flowing Snake. Su Yuehua's secretary walked to the door and knocked. "Sister Hua, 2 guests arrived at the hotel. One claims to be Sister Hua's friend. He's called Yi Mo. There's also another girl with him." Huh? Su Yuehua suddenly stood up. Yi Mo had arrived. "Quick, invite Mr. Yi in." "Oh, wait, I'll go over myself." As soon as Su Yuehua spoke, she heard Yi Mo's voice outside the door. "CEO Su, no need for that. I'm already here. Senior Yi, please take a seat." "Azi, quickly go make some tea." Su Yuehua nervously invited Yi Mo and Ning Qingxue into the office. She didn't expect Yi Mo to come there himself. Yi Mo smiled. CEO Su, you can just call me Yi Mo Qingxue. This is Su Yuehua. CEO Su, I told you about her. CEO XU, this is my wife, Ning Qingxue. The reason Yi Mo hadn't taken Ning Qingxue back to Ninghai and came to Hong Kong instead was that he still had some business there. That was why he had come to see Su Yuehua, but it was also due to Su Yuehua that he had managed to find her so quickly this time. He could see how valuable was Su Yuehua. His company Luo Yu had just started and he needed people like Su Yuehua. Yi, you found your wife. Su Yuehua didn't finish the sentence. She then saw Ning Qingxue. She had seen Ning Qingxue in pictures before. She was a very pretty girl, but when she met Ning Qingxue in real life, she was instantly shocked. She didn't know if Yi Mo had been looking for Ning Qingxue because of her beauty, but Ning Qingxue was the prettiest girl she had seen. Su Yuehua wouldn't say about herself that she is beautiful, yet she was rather confident on her looks. But looking at Ning Qingxue, she felt she was just average. Ning Qingxue had changed into a blue dress. Her silky black hair fell on her chiseled shoulders. With that jade-like skin and beautiful face, one couldn't help to feel enchanted by her upon sight. The milky white necklace on her chest still emitted a faint ray, making her seem serene, yet out of this world, if her eyes weren't always on Yi Mo, and she hadn't that heartfelt joy on her face. Su Yuehua would have thought she was a goddess. There was actually such a woman. Even she, as a woman, got a great impression of her. She couldn't image what men thought. Su Yuehua finally understood why Yuan Qibing thought that way. No wonder. Ning Qingxue smiled and shook hands with Su Yuehua. She knew that people who saw her for the first time were astonished, but after looking at her for a long time, one would get used to it. Yet still, the workers in her company were always shocked from her beauty. That's why she just gave all the duties to Li Mumei, to avoid awkwardness. Su Yuehua smiled awkwardly and laughed at Herschel. Mrs. Ning is too pretty, I can't even help myself. Ha! Knowing this, she felt less shocked about the fact that Yi Mo had found Ning Qingxue. Sister Yuehua, just call me Qingxue from now on. Ning Qingxue knew that since Yi Mo had come here just for Su Yuehua, she was no ordinary deal. Yi Mo sat down, drank some tea, and Su Yuehua asked, CEO Yi, I would like to join Luo Yu Corporation. I've thought about it, but after investigating some things, I'm also a little confused. To Yi Mo, it was really good news that Su Yuehua joined Luo Yu. Her abilities had no match. She was much more capable than Western Sand, an entire organization, but no one had the power to use her. Yi Mo nodded. Tell me your concerns. Su Yuehua organized her thoughts and said, I've sent people to investigate at Flowing Snake, but I found that I wasn't the only one. There were also a lot of people investigating Luo Yu. Luo Yu is too lucrative. It has caught the others' attention. Of course, the reason Luo Yu could sustain itself until now means that there are people that can deal with this kind of people. Yi Mo nodded. Su Yuehua hadn't disappointed him indeed. She hadn't even been to Flowing Snake, but she already knew people were investigating there. Indeed, Luo Yu was too unprotected at Flowing Snake, but he could see from Su Yuehua's tone that it wasn't just that. As expected, Su Yuehua began speaking again. The main thing is that I found that Flowing Snake is situated between China, Vietnam, and Lucé. Hence, 80% of the land belongs to Lucé. Lucé has only been established there for 30 years or so. I think that once Flowing Snake flourishes, Lucé won't let Luo Yu stay in Flowing Snake, or they will try to get benefits from Luo Yu. If this is the case, I would rather the latter. But Flowing Snake is also a part of Vietnam's land. Yi Mo heard this and took her even more seriously. It's not that he hadn't thought about this, but as a cultivator, he never really considered this a big issue. Now that Su Yuehua mentioned it, he had to think about it. If the military came to take Luo Yu, should he give up or not? There was no way he was going to give it away, in which case they would have to start a war. he could disregard a small country like Luce, but if Su Yuehua wanted to join Yemo, how could she not care? She also knew that no matter how strong Yemo was, could he face a whole country? Yemo smiled and looked at Su Yuehua. Then, what is your opinion? Su Yuehua said adamantly, I have two ideas. One, the company moves away immediately. Second, we negotiate with them to buy the land. If it were before Luo you had been set up there, it would be easier. But now it's harder. Yemo nodded. You take this as a way of knowing that I was right about you. But don't worry about it. Since it was me who dared to open factories at Flowing Snake, I also have the ability to settle things. Is there anything else? Yemo nodded. You take this as a way of knowing that I was right about you. But don't worry about it. Since it was me who dared to open factories at Flowing Snake, I also have the ability to settle things. Is there anything else? Hearing Yemo's words, although Su Yuehua was still doubtful, she could only suppress it and continue. There's an organization in Hong Kong called the Hong Kong Four Strange Looks. The leaders of this organization are four brothers, but these brothers are cruel and heartless. Even Zhao Bianyi does dare to easily offend them. I suspect these four brothers might try to harm CEO Yi. The reason is due to your qi increasing pills. Since the last time you left Western Sand, they have spent a fortune to get a Southeast Asian organization to make laser bombs, and they've been collecting information about you. Laser bombs? Yemo frowned. Thinking about it, he remembered when he killed Ren Sha. If laser bombs were the ones Ren Sha had thrown last time, then he might get hurt if he wasn't careful. If many of those bombs went off at the same time, the consequences would be serious. But Yemo thought there wouldn't be too many of those bombs. Seeing Yemo frown, Su Yuehua continued. The Fu brothers might have a real ancient martial arts cultivation method. And I suspect their big brother, Fu Eugene, is yellow level. Yemo nodded and said, Thank you, Sister Yuehua. I will go visit these four brothers later. Su Yuehua heard this, and she rejoiced that Yemo considered her on his team now. Yemo had definitely approved Su Yuehua's intelligence capabilities. Although he didn't even consider the Four Strange Looks a threat, if they really had the laser bomb and ambushed him, he could be fine. But what about Qingxue? If Qingxue got hurt again, would killing them solve the problem? Yemo turned around and said to Ning Qingxue, Qingxue, stay with Sister Yuehua for now. I'll be back soon. You can call home to say you're safe. In a mansion in Hong Kong, the four brothers gathered to discuss attacking Yemo, fourth brother. You're right. As soon as Yemo returned to Hong Kong, the first place he went to was the Suyu Hotel, Fu Yuin said with excitement. Fu Yuhai nodded and said with confidence, that day, Yemo met with Su Yuehua. It must have been because he wanted to hire her. Although Black Widow is a bit greedy, she has good abilities. Yemo must have given her some time to think about it. If he couldn't find that Ning Qingxue at sea, the first thing he would do is to come see that Su Yuehua. Fu Eugene frowned and said, Fourth brother, I have a bad feeling about this. I heard that he didn't come back alone this time. He brought a girl to Suyu Hotel. That girl is very pretty. I think he might have found Ning Qingxue already. Big brother, that's impossible. The plane was gone and so many people didn't come back. How come did he find Ning Qingxue? Is he a god? Is he stronger than the U.S. government? Fu Yuin immediately said. Fu Yusen said, Big brother, I also didn't agree to attacking Yemo before, but since we made a decision, we can't keep changing minds. It's too early, and we haven't prepared yet. Fu Yuhai nodded. It's a bit early indeed, and we only got one of those laser bombs. If we wait another week, we can get two more. That's like a mini nuclear bomb. I think that even if Yemo is Earth level, he wouldn't be able to escape. Do you think Black Widow knows about us buying the laser bombs? She knows everything in Hong Kong. If she hears about this and tells Yemo, then it would get dangerous. Fu Eugene said with worry, Big brother, you're worrying too much. Let's not discuss whether she knows about it. Even if she did, would she think we're trying to attack Emo? Fu Yuan argued. Let's do this. But from the pictures we got, the woman next to him is just too pretty. I will have this woman. Fu Eugene said, making up his mind. Big brother, are we lacking women? The first thing we should do is think about how to get the bomb to Yemo's hands. As long as we do that, we will be successful. Fu Yusan said. Fu Yuhai smiled. It is very simple. We'll package the bomb and give it to Xiaolan. Let Xiaolan give it to Yemo and say it's from Su Yuehua. Xiaolan is Su Yuehua's trusted person. I don't think Yemo would question it. Yeah, the moment Yemo has the bomb in his hands, we will detonate it immediately. This is a good method. Fu Yuan agreed. No. Fu Yuhai shook his head. The rest of them looked at him, and he smiled bleakly. Those who cultivate to Yemo's stage all have a natural instinct for danger. I think we should let Xiaolan walk in front of Yemo and then detonate it. With its power, anything within 10 meters won't be able to escape. Fu Yusen said hesitantly, but this way, won't the qi-increasing pills be gone? Fu Yuhai sneered. Detonate it a little further away, and the pills might not be blown away. Even if they do, it's fine. How does that work, fourth brother? Fu Eugene asked. Fu Yuhai said plainly, I've investigated Yemo Luo Yu is probably his, and his qi-increasing pills are made there. Even if we annihilate Yemo, why would the workers at the factory stop, big brother? Perhaps we could get the recipe for the pills, and that would be a fortune. Great. Fu Eugene clapped and immediately said, but this way, poor Xiaolan, I quite like that woman. She's also always kept an eye on Su Yuehua. It's quite a pity for her to die. Big brother, didn't you already say that the woman next to Yemo is yours? Why would you care about a mere woman like Xiaolan? Once we all have qi-increasing pills, even Su Yuehua will be ours. What can she do to us? By then, we'll go on her together. Fu Yuan said. Ha ha ha. The four brothers laughed in agreement. Obviously, they were very happy with Fu Youhai's plan. But before the four had finished laughing, there was a monotone clapping. Not bad. The plan is very good, but you overestimate yourselves. Even if you got the bomb in my hands, you would injure me at most. Yi Qinbei. The four brothers stood up at the same time and looked at Yemo in horror. They really couldn't understand how Yemo had come in this meeting room. This was their most secretive place. There were many guards, and anyone who approached it within 20 meters would be found. The fact was Yemo had appeared in front of them, but no alarm was set off. Xiaolan, is it you? You traitor. How dare you bring him in? Fu Yuan looked at the girl next to Yemo and hissed in anger. The girl spat and said, I belong to Sister Yuehua. I stayed here just to help her investigate things. How am I a traitor? Furthermore, even if I didn't work for her, you animals want me to die with the bomb. Why should I listen to you? And Brother Yi brought me in today, not the other way around. Huh. The four brothers looked at Yemo all at the same time. They really didn't understand how he had come inside. Could he turn invisible or something? Yemo thanked Su Yuehua more and more. If it wasn't for her reminder, he might not have avoided their plan. What if they had injured Ning Qingxue? What is more, Yemo had seen the power of the laser bomb. It could indeed harm him. What made Yemo the angriest was that they had schemed to take Luo Yi. Although Yemo knew that with Su Ping they all would be fine, these four still pissed him off. As though they knew this was their only hope, Fu Yuhai took out a black ball and raised it. Yi Qinbei, I know it's our fault for trying to attack you. We're willing to take back our words. If Yi Qinbei disagrees, we will all die together. Then his other hand grabbed the controller. Yemo sneered. What right do you think you have to negotiate with me? Fu Yuhai wanted to say something, but he suddenly felt his two wrists aching. He looked down subconsciously and immediately realized that both of his hands had been cleanly cut off. Chapter 4:26 Snow Mountain Ancient Tomb. Chapter 4:26 Snow Mountain Ancient Tomb. Fu Yuhai only dazed around for a moment before the blood from his broken wrists shot out like a jet stream. Immediately, he fell on the ground unconscious. The moment Fu Yuhai fell on the ground, the other three came back to reality and all looked at Yi Mo in shock. When they saw the bomb and controller in Yi Mo's hands, their minds went blank. They tried to rate Yi Mo as highly as possible, yet they eventually still underestimated him. They didn't even know when Yi Mo made a move, nor how he had taken the bomb and controller. Xiao Lan even almost fainted. Due to the mind-blowing qi increasing pill, they tried to gamble, but before the gamble even started, they had already lost. Fu Yuin shivered. The first to stand up and talk was Fu Yuhai. He knew that in front of Yi Mo, they were mere insects. Regret was the only thing they felt now. If it wasn't for the encouragement of second and fourth brother, he wouldn't have thought about ambushing Yi Mo. With Yi Mo's power, even if they had succeeded, they might have not been able to kill Yi Mo. He was just too powerful. When they made their plan, they only had eye for the might of the qi-gathering pill, but failed to calculate the might of Yi Mo properly, nor would they have expected Black Widow to plant Xiaolan next to them. Yi Qianbei, we had eyes but didn't see Mount Tai. We're willing to give all we have, and merely begged Qianbei to have mercy on us, Fu Yuhai said. He knew he could only beg now. Yi Mo sneered. You're the Hong Kong Four Strange Looks, aren't you? I really don't understand how your dog balls got so big. You saw me kill that Bao Ye, yet you still dared scheme for my qi-increasing pill? Yi Mo really couldn't understand. As long as they had at least a bit of brains, they shouldn't have risked it no matter how greedy they were, unless there was really something worth throwing away their life for. With their status, something that could attract them wouldn't be some ordinary thing. Hearing Yi Mo's words, a sliver of hope appeared in Fu Yuhai's eyes. He immediately vowed, I'll gladly tell the reason why we wanted the qi-increasing pill as long as Qianbei has mercy on us. Yi Mo sneered, you don't have the right to negotiate with me. You have 3 seconds to start talking, or else you can go ahead and keep it a secret forever. Yi Qianbei, please don't attack, we'll talk. Fu Yuin spoke before Fu Yuhai. Hearing this, Fu Yuhai sighed. He knew that whether or not they said it, they'd be goners this time. Yi Mo's face remained unchanged, and he didn't speak, but he really did want to know why the 4 of them had been willing to plot against him. Seeing Yi Mo not speak, Fu Yuin quickly explained, 15 years ago, us brothers started making a living out of tomb raiding. This career wasn't too bad, but because the country got too strict about it, and because there was too much competition, the job had got harder and harder. After doing it for a few years, just as we're planning to quit, a friend of Big Brother's told us that they found an ancient great tomb. Hence, we arranged to raid that tomb together with Big Brother's friend and his wife. It's unknown what era the tomb owner was from, but we found 2 skeletons at the entrance of the tomb that had been dead for an inestimable amount of time. On these 2 skeletons, we found an ancient martial arts cultivation method. The book was made of unknown material, managing to survive the times. We speculated that the 2 must have been fighting over something and ended up killing each other. We could tell from the tools on the ground that they were both tomb raiders. Yi Mo questioned in contempt, since you didn't go in, how do you know that the tomb is so significant? Fu Eugene continued, because the entrance had a huge door. The door was truly grand, but what shocked us the most was that at the top of the door, there were 9 luminous pearls embedded into it. We thought that luminous pearls were of a mere thing of legends, yet that time we really saw luminous pearls. The light was very soft and felt very comfortable. It didn't feel like we were underground at all. We thought if these invaluable pearls could be embedded into the door, then what's inside must be more significant. Yi Mo nodded. Continue. He hadn't suspected this. Other people might not have seen the luminous pearls, but he had seen all too many. But a luminous pearl on Earth was worth a fortune, much less 9 of them. Fu Eugene didn't see any greed in Yi Mo's eyes at all, and felt even more horror. If Yi Mo had shown greed, he would have been able to use the location of the tomb to threaten Yi Mo, but now that didn't seem to be possible. Fu Eugene quickly said, "My friend saw that pearl and immediately charged over, but before he even got there, he was shot dead by arrows. This tomb was booby-trapped. We thought of many ways afterwards, but couldn't get the luminous pearl. But perhaps we tried out too many things. The raiding tunnel we dug was about to collapse, so we quickly got out, and as soon as we did, the tunnel caved in." "You never went back in again?" Yi Mo stared at Fu Eugene and asked. Fu Eugene shook his head. "We didn't dare go back in because when we came out, it appeared that everyone's backs had been scratched by a ghost. We were thinking of trying other ways to enter again, but after cultivating that ancient martial arts cultivation method, we realized how powerful it was, so we decided to go in again after all having reached yellow level. On top of that, for those in the tomb raiding profession, if they have their backs scratched by ghosts, they can't go into a tomb within 10 years. If you do, certain death. Therefore, I started thinking, if we all reach yellow level, we won't be afraid, no matter how powerful the booby traps in the tomb are. But it's been 12 years later, and other than me, the other 3 haven't reached yellow level. Then we saw Qianbei with the Qi increasing pill, so Yi Mo's spirit sense scanned their backs, and indeed, they all had red scars. It seemed that was from when the ghosts scratched their backs. You said you guys went in with a couple. You 4 are here, and the man of the couple died, but where's the last person?" Yi Mo's asked plainly. The reason he asked this was because he wanted to know if news of this tomb had spread out. The other woman had been there too, but after her husband died, we ended up separating. "We don't know where she went," Fu Eugene quickly said. "HMPF. Yi Mo sneered. "You're lying." Hearing this, Fu Eugene immediately began to sweat, and just when he wanted to continue talking, he felt some wind hit at his head. Before he could even notice that it was due to a broken hand kicked over by Yi Mo, he turned muddle-headed. "Where did the woman go?" Yi Mo asked coldly. He also wanted to see this tomb, but if news of it had gotten out, he wouldn't need to go because it would have already been searched. Hearing this, Fu Eugene replied expressionlessly, "We brought her back with us, and all had to go on her before killing her. You really are animals." Xiao Lan couldn't hold it and cursed. "That woman's husband was your friend. Her husband died, yet not only did you not help her, you actually raped and killed her. Scum. Trash." Xiao Lan was infuriated. Yi Mo also felt saddened. People as cruel as this weren't common even in the cultivation realm. If they were afraid of this woman leaking the news, then they could have brought her with them and imprisoned her. Even that would have been better than what they did. Taking a step back, even if they had to kill her, they didn't need to rape her. After all, this woman's husband had been their pal. One really couldn't make the wrong friends. If anyone became friends with these 4 brothers, they had to be blind. "Xiao Lan, wait for me outside. I will be back soon." Yi Mo didn't need Xiao Lan for recognizing the 4 brothers anymore, and there were some things he didn't want her to hear. And Xiao Lan knew what Yi Mo meant and walked out. Yi Mo burned Fu Yuhai with a fireball and then continued to ask Fu Eugene, "Tell me the location of that tomb." "It's in Yunzhong Province, Snow Mountain." Fu Eugene replied without hesitation. Fu Yuin looked at his big brother in shock. He thought his big brother would use this as a protective measure, yet he confessed it without hesitation. Fu Yuin had desperation in his eyes as he took out a small goatskin booklet and passed it to Yi Mo, saying, "Yi Qinbei, this is the map of that tomb and our cultivation method." Chapter 4:27. Caused big trouble. Chapter 4:27. Caused big trouble. Xiao Lan didn't have to wait long for Yi Mo to came out. He didn't let them live. Yi Mo was no merciful person. Letting the four brothers live would mean bringing himself endless trouble. Even though Yi Mo had transmigrated onto Earth, and his usual means of dealing with things had become less aggressive, he still would kill those who needed to be killed without hesitation. That night, Yi Mo had things to discuss with Su Yuehua, so Ning Qingxue went to sleep first. Due to the re-encounter with Yi Mo, Ning Qingxue had been in some sort of state of excitement, but due to her constant worry and fatigue, when she finally relaxed, she fell into extreme fatigue. Perhaps because of having Yi Mo by her side, Ning Qingxue fell asleep on the bed immediately. Yi Mo and Ning Qingxue agreed, with Su Yuehua, to have them together on the same room arranged. The two were already married and no longer had the conflicts from before. Furthermore, Ning Qingxue had already lived with Yi Mo before, so in her heart Yi Mo was already her husband. Of course, she wouldn't object to this. When Ning Qingxue fell asleep, Yi Mo closed the door and started discussing about flowing snake issues with Su Yuehua. They started a video conference, allowing Yu Miaodan and Zhang Jiayan to participate. Yu Miaodan was already too busy with the company's managing. Although she knew there were all sorts of people coming into Flowing Snake, she didn't have the time nor manpower to investigate. Even if Yi Mo hadn't found someone to be responsible for this, she was planning to find someone. Now that Yi Mo had found Su Yuehua, it was of great help to Yu Miaodan and the others. The people from Luo, you could also tell from Yi Mo's attitude towards Su Yuehua that she was valuable. When they finished planning the company's issues, it was already 12 a.m. Yi Mo made Su Yuehua end the video conference and then asked, "Sister Yuehua, have you ever heard of the Northern Sand?" Su Yuehua nodded. "I have. It is a very mysterious organization. They have their branches all over the world. I heard their ambition is also very great. They want to establish a country more democratic than America. I don't know anything else." Yi Mo nodded. It was quite meaningful that Su Yuehua could even know that. After all, this organization was very mysterious and took every means necessary to achieve their purposes. Yi Mo didn't believe at all that they wanted to establish a country more democratic than U.S. "Sister Yuehua, when you arrive at Flowing Snake, while you investigate those infiltrators, you must also investigate the Northern Sand. You can get the funding you need from Sister Yu," Yi Mo said seriously. Yi Mo was very uncomfortable with the existence of Northern Sand. Of course, this was related to Dongfang Shi. Although he had killed Dongfang Shi, he still had some unsolved matters with the Northern Sand due to the Space Sunflower Blueprint. He had even promised Han Zixin that he would get the other part of the blueprint. Su Yuehua fell silent. She knew that with her power, it would be a joke to try to investigate the Northern Sands. Seeing this, Yi Mo knew what she was thinking and smiled. "You don't need to intentionally send people to investigate. Just keep it in mind in case you hear something. I believe that since you have an ancient martial arts cultivation method, you have quite an important origin. I don't know what happened to you, but as long as you stay in Flowing Snake, I believe you can reach Earth level in 3 years." "What?" Su Yuehua was completely shocked. She had spent more than 20 years in order to reach yellow level middle stage. And now Yi Mo said she could reach Earth level in 3 years. If this had been a week ago, she would think Yi Mo was lying to her. But now she was sure that Yi Mo wasn't. Su Yuehua stood up. Her abandoned thoughts of revenge had risen up once again. If she could reach Earth level, then she wouldn't even need Yi Mo's help to annihilate that small sect. "Brother Mo, if this Yuehua can really reach Earth level and fulfill my dream of getting revenge, Yuehua is willing to sell myself to you for life." Su Yuehua changed her title. Even though Yi Mo was younger than her, if Yi Mo could really help her get revenge for her family, then she would be satisfied even if she died. She had given up revenge before, because she knew that with her current power, it would mean suicide. "Sister Yuehua, you don't need to. You just need to do intelligence work for me, and I will be very happy, Yi Mo said. Yi Mo went back to his room. His conversation with Su Yuehua that night made very happy. He was sure that Su Yuehua was enticed by his conditions. He knew she had had her doubts before, but it was simply because she hadn't known how powerful he was. Ning Qingxue slept very sweetly. The smile on her face meant that she must have been having a good dream. Yi Mo couldn't resist to peck her on her face and sat down by her side, cultivating. On that spirit chi-depleted earth, if he didn't work hard cultivating, his journey would be over. But Yi Mo was not only hardworking, also very lucky. He had kept encountering good things. Otherwise, he might still be at Qi gathering stage 1. Ning Qingxue had said that Tang Beiwei was back and stayed in Ninghai. He had decided to bring along Qingxue to see Beiwei tomorrow. If Beiwei was willing, he was prepared to take Beiwei to Flowing Snake. The morning after, Ning Qingxue woke up and found that Yi Mo was still cultivating. She felt warm inside. Yi Mo saw that Ning Qingxue had woken up and immediately stood up saying, "Get up. After we eat something, we'll go back to Ninghai, and you also can go to Yu State to visit." Ning Qingxue agreed. When she got off bed, she walked naturally to Yi Mo and hugged him. She liked that warm feeling. Yi Mo had just finished cultivating, and because of being embraced by Ning Qingxue, who was still in her sleeping clothes, he felt fire at heart. Ning Qingxue's body was soft and aromatic, making him have an irresistible desire. As though she could feel Yi Mo's reaction, Ning Qingxue blushed and buried her head in Yi Mo's chest. She knew she hadn't been thinking about that, but by acting this way, had she been seducing Yi Mo? It didn't seem to fit her character. Just when Yi Mo wanted to say something to Ning Qingxue, someone knocked the door. Yi Mo frowned. It was early in the morning, and Su Yuehua's was experienced in social conventions in this world. How come she disturbed him and Ning Qingxue? Unless there was something important. With these thoughts, Yi Mo smiled. In his eyes, as long as everyone around him was fine, then everything was good. Unless the planet was about to explode, nothing can be too important. Su Yuehua had just met him, and so she didn't understand his personality. Ning Qingxue separated from Yi Mo and stood up, brushing her hair aside, and smiled. "Yuehua's sister must have some business to talk about with you. You can go out first. I'll come out after I finish getting dressed." Yi Mo opened the door and saw Su Yuehua standing nervously at the door. When she saw Yi Mo come out, she immediately said, "Just now, CEO, Yu has called saying she has something to report. Was it Yu Miaodan who had called?" She had called quite early in the morning. Was there really something? Yi Mo immediately rung Yu Miaodan. As soon as the call connected, Yu Miaodan sounded worried as she said, "CEO Yi, this morning 2 men came to Flowing Snake. They are both heavily wounded. They said they were looking for you. One is called Guiqi, the other was called Fong Wei. I've taken care of them. I was planning to wait for you to come back first, but I just saw online a first grade wanted post to capture those 2. They are both from the Special Forces. They killed 2 military officers and ran away. I don't know what their relationship with you is yet, so I didn't do anything to them." Guiqi and Fong Wei? Yi Mo immediately remembered when he had been at the Borderland Forest. Both of these men were from the Eagle Squad. Their captain was a woman called Lu Lin, and Qi Wanqing was a part of this team. Yi Mo had found them and saved them. It was due to this that Yi Mo was friends with them. He had even told them that he was at Flowing Snake. But Yi Mo was sure that those 2 hadn't come knowing that Luo Yu belonged to him. What he didn't understand was that those 2 were in the military and were skilled men from the Special Forces. Why would they kill military officers? Yi Mo had a good impression of Guiqi. He had even taught them some simple fighting techniques. Thinking about this, Yi Mo said, "Tell them to stay in Flowing Snake. They're my friends. I'll come back in a while." In this moment, Ning Qingxue came out. She walked to Yi Mo and asked caringly, Is it about Luo Yu? Yi Mo felt comforted and said, "It's not much. Let's go back to Flowing Snake first." After notifying Su Yuehua, Yi Mo brought Ning Qingxue to Flowing Snake. After Su Yuehua would finish dealing with some business in Hong Kong, she would be joining them there. After notifying Su Yuehua, Yi Mo brought Ning Qingxue to Flowing Snake. After Su Yuehua would finish dealing with some business in Hong Kong, she would be joining them there, returning to Flowing Snake again and seeing their environment. Not only Ning Qingxue, but also Yi Mo couldn't believe what they saw. It had changed so much in such a short time. It had become a busy business district. The main streets were very wide, and there were all sorts of shops and travel agencies everywhere. The only thing Yi Mo wasn't happy about was that, although the streets were wide, it obviously wasn't meant to be like that, and they had been built casually. The biggest Luo Yu outlet was in Flowing Snake. This had brought the attention of a lot of merchants, and these merchants had brought relative industries, starting a chain that moved forward different industries. Yi Mo saw this and sighed. No wonder Su Yuehua was worried about the countries next to it. With the way Flowing Snake was looking now, it was almost a second-grade city. Yi Mo frowned. No, if it went down to that, it would be an easy target. What made Yi Mo troubled was that if he was by himself, he could just leave. But the truth was that he wasn't by himself. If a country was really going to attack Flowing Snake, then even with his stage for power, it would be like throwing an egg at a rock. No matter how strong his fireballs and wind blades were, he wouldn't be able to go against an army. Su Yuehua's worry was reasoned. He had to quickly resolve this issue. Otherwise, the longer he took, the more trouble it would be. Although Flowing Snake was under Fong Nan and his men's control, the place was originally chaotic, and as Flowing Snake expanded, there were security issues. Yi Mo and Ning Qingxue were just standing there and caught a lot of attention. Ning Qingxue was too attractive. No matter where she stood, she would be the most attractive person. "Big brother, do you need a hotel? We provide all sorts of service. We'll guarantee you'll be satisfied. Don't worry, I can bring you there now. Just follow me." Before Yi Mo and Ning Qingxue could gaze at the scene, a middle-aged woman had stopped them. Although she was trying to do business, from her tone it seemed that Yi Mo had already agreed to it. And after she came, other people trying to sell stuff stopped around them. Ning Qingxue frowned and got closer to Yi Mo. Yi Mo said plainly, "No need. We don't need to stay in a hotel. Move aside." "Friend, how can you not live in a hotel at Flowing Snake? There aren't beauty pills every day, but as long as you live at our hotel, I promise you can at the very least buy the beauty pill. Hee hee." Two other bulky men got in Yi Mo's way. Although the man was talking to Yi Mo, his eyes were on Ning Qingxue with pure lust. After he finished speaking, he started to play with a small knife. Yi Mo's expression sunk. He was angry. How had Flowing Snake turned into that kind place? Funny how he thought this was the safest place before. If Yi Ling wasn't his sister, would she be also harassed like this? This wasn't attracting business. This was threatening them to go stay at their hotel. Do you always coerce your customers like this? Are there no rules in Flowing Snake? Yi Mo's tone was sharp. This was no different from Flowing Snake 2 years ago. Or maybe even worse. He was completely shocked. Flowing Snake had these hoodlums, but it was still so populated. If it weren't for these people, then wouldn't there be even more inhabitants? It seemed he needed to quickly solve some issues in that land. Yi Mo's anger grew. How were Zhang Jiayan, Fong Nan, and Yang Zhou managing Flowing Snake? This was too ridiculous. But then, Yi Mo calmed his anger. These people had started from the bottom. They had no experience in managing cities and didn't have a system. It was not bad that they could still stabilize the situation with this many people. "Huan Gui, how many times have I told you? Don't be so direct to customers. You're doing this again, and it is making it hard for me." A young voice was heard. The bulky man called Huan Gui turned around and saw 2 young men. He immediately smiled. Brother Huizi, please don't mind on account of Metal Brother. Come have a ciggy, our boss, and Metal Brother are brothers. He. Although he looked polite, he didn't seem to take the brother Huizi seriously. Yi Mo stared at the young man walking over, and his eyes sparkled with anger. He knew him. It had been him who had gone to Beijing to find him. This young man was called Xiao Hua, a loyal man of Fongnan. No wonder these people were so arrogant. They had support from someone. These gangsters couldn't really have authority. Once they did, they would think of ways to make profit out of it. He wondered who that Metal Brother's backup was. Okay, don't overdo it. Although Metal Brother is my brother, Flowing Snake is a mine. And it is a Metal Brother's. You've always been like this, and it makes it very hard for me. Xiao was said with a sunken expression. He felt that what many brothers were doing wasn't what Brother Yi had intended. However, Brother Nan had been focused on cultivation and rarely managed these matters. He had given his men to rock and Xiao metal, and now this was the situation. Sorry, Brother Huizi, I must do this business this time. Then, Huan Gui stared at Ning Qingxue. Xiao Hui shook his head helplessly. He looked up and then rubbed his eyes in disbelief. He was actually seeing Yi Mo and Ning Qingxue. Xiao Hui's face changed immediately. He quickly ran in front of Yi Mo and bowed. Big brother, you're back. Yi Mo sneered and scanned those passers-by businesses. Just when he wanted to speak, he saw more of those people stop another foreign merchant. They had almost pushed and dragged him away. Why is this trash in Flowing Snake? What is Fongnan doing? Yi Mo's temper grew bigger. His company was based in Flowing Snake, and with these sort of things happening in there, then no matter how effective his products were, it would affect his company's interests. Who do you think you are? How can you dare point your fingers like that? Are you Xiao Hui's big brother? Then let me tell you, if you want to act important, go do that at home. This isn't the place for you. Huan Gui thought Yi Mo was a relative of Xiao Hui's. He hadn't heard Yi Mo's words and walked over with a contemptuous tone. He didn't even take Xiao Hui seriously. He only gave him some respect due to him being the brother of Metal Brother. Slap. Xiao was slapped Huan Gui on the face unexpectedly. Piss off. Even if you're one of Xiao Metal's men, I won't let this go. I would hit Xiao Metal here. I don't even care about what you can do. Oh, Cheng Jihua, you're so powerful. You're not even the big boss in Flowing Snake. How dare you hit my men? I want to see what you're going to do about it. Then another young man brought two men with him and walked over. One of them seemed to be wearing clothes from the military. Yi Mo knew this person. He was Xiao Metal, one of the two loyal men of Fongnan. The other one was called Rock, but he didn't expect him to be like this in only 2 years. Oh, perhaps he never changed. He had always been this person. Yet Yi Mo just couldn't understand him. These people are really unreasonable. Ning Qingxue saw this and frowned. Reason. I am reason dash. Xiao Metal only said half a sentence before he saw Ning Qingxue. Such a beautiful woman, but this woman didn't make him happy. He seemed to have recognized her. This woman had come to Flowing Snake before, and Big Brother Fong Nan had treated her like an important guest. She seemed to be Brother's woman. It was her Xiao Metal felt not good. He finally saw Yi Mo, who had a cold face, next to Ning Qingxue. If he had another chance, he would not have looked at the woman first, but the person next to her. The instant Xiao Metal saw Yi Mo, his heart and body shaked. It was Big Brother, Brother Nan's big brother. He hadn't even had a chance to call Yi Mo Big Brother. Brother Yi had actually returned to Flowing Snake, and his man Huan Gui had tried to coerce Brother Yi, but had been stopped by Xiao Hua. Xiao Metal didn't even dare to think about what had happened. He had understood. It's over. Xiao Metal's heart was full of worry. He had done overlord business on the big boss. He wondered if the bastard Huan Gui had offended Big Boss Woman. Metal Brother, Xiao Hua is getting worse and worse. He's always been preventing us from doing business lately. If he wasn't a brother of Big Brother, I would have. Huan Gui's voice suddenly stopped. He couldn't speak anymore because Xiao Metal had also slapped him in the face. Before Huan Gui could react, Xiao Metal had kneeled down in front of Yi Mo. Huan Gui was dazed, but before he could react, he saw his metal brother had knelt down in front of that young man. Brother Yi, I really didn't know it was you. Xiao Metal was really scared now. Other people didn't know Yi Mo's power, but he had seen it with Fong Nan. Yi Mo said coldly, "So, do you mean that if it had been someone else, you would be allowed to do this?" Xiao Metal opened his mouth, but couldn't say anything. He believed so indeed, since Flowing Snake was their land, and their big brother had forbid robbery. Then, so what if they did some coerced business? Upon receiving Xiao Fire's phone call, Fong Nan ran out as soon as he could. Flowing Snake wasn't big. He arrived at the scene by car in only a few minutes. Upon receiving Xiao Fire's phone call, Fong Nan ran out as soon as he could. Flowing Snake wasn't big. He arrived at the scene by car in only a few minutes. When he saw Xiao Metal kneeling on the ground, and Yi Mo, who looking unhappy, Fong Nan knew things weren't going well. It was great news that Brother Yi was back, but he hadn't been managing his men recently. Had they done something that offended Big Boss? Before the car even stopped properly, Fong Nan jumped off and walked to Yi Mo respectfully. "Brother Yi, you've come back." As he cultivated ancient martial arts, Fong Nan knew how weak he was and how unpredictably strong Yi Mo was. Before, he felt fear and admiration for Yi Mo, but now it was respect and worship. This was the reason why he had left aside his things and focused all his time on ancient martial arts. Huan Gui was completely frightened. He didn't even dare to move. Even Metal Brother's big brother Fong Nan was that respectful to the young man, and he had been thinking about taking his woman. He really wanted to slap himself. It had only been a short while, and there were already there Zhang Jian, Yu Miaodan, Yang Jiu, basically almost all the higher-ups of Luoyu. It was only then that Huan Gui completely lost all hope. Even if he was an idiot, he could guess that that man was the legendary big boss of Flowing Snake. Yu Miaodan looked at Yi Mo in shock. She couldn't understand, but she had to keep her feelings for herself. She didn't dare to say it. She had called Yi Mo in the morning, and it had been less than an hour until Yi Mo arrived at Flowing Snake. If she really hadn't known that Yi Mo had been in Hong Kong in the morning, she would have thought Yi Mo had been nearby. He had got from Hong Kong to Flowing Snake in an hour. No wonder Yi Mo said he would be back immediately. She was completely dumbfounded. If the beauty pill and health pill were still reasonable, then getting there in an hour was out of her comprehension. Even if he had a private jet, he couldn't have been that quick. Yu Miaodan just realized that she was far from knowing Yi Mo, CEO Dong. Everyone came up to Yi Mo and greeted him. Yi Mo nodded and said, "Okay, we're at this point today due to everyone's hard work. I believe no one wants to ruin what we've built. But today when I came back, I saw a scam-like business. If a woman came here, she'd be forced into prostitution. Flowing Snake is the base of Luoyu, where we will be living, not a bandit cove. If you want to be a bandit, then piss off." "CEO Yi, this is my fault." Zhang Jian walked over and said. Although he had heard of this news, he hadn't taken it seriously. He didn't expect it to end up with the big boss being coerced too. "Big brother, this is my fault in management. After CEO Zhang put me in charge of the security management of Flowing Snake, I gave the authority to my men in order to cultivate ancient martial arts. I didn't expect it to turn into this rancid situation. I will immediately deal with this," Fong Nan said. Yi Mo waved his hand. "This is your responsibility indeed, but you don't need to deal with it. Yang Jiu will be responsible for this now, and you will be working for him for the moment." Yi Mo had taken his position and given it to Yang Jiu with one word. Although Fong Nan was worried, he didn't dare to say anything. Yi Mo let him work under Yang Jiu, which meant that he expected him to do better in the future to make up for it. They had known Yi Mo since the beginning, but this had been ruined because of his men. Thinking about this, Fong Nan glared at Xiao Metal, who was still kneeling on the ground. If Xiao Metal hadn't been one of his most loyal men, he would have planned on killing him. Yang Jiu promises to fulfill Big Boss mission, Yang Jiu quickly promised after hearing what he said. Yi Mo said plainly, "You will just be in charge of cleaning up Flowing Snake for now. We still need to discuss how Flowing Snake will be managed in the future. Your mission for these few days is to investigate all the hotels, shops, and bars in Flowing Snake. Take back all the hotels and entertainment centers, kill those who disagree." Yi Mo's cold and dominant words made everyone on the spot shake. Kill if they disagree? If that was said somewhere else, the government would pursue you. But that was Flowing Snake, Yi Mo's land. Yi Mo. Even Ning Qingxue thought that Yi Mo's words weren't suitable. Although she had been to Flowing Snake once, she hadn't seen some of the stuff yet. She just called his name once, but didn't say anything else. Since Yi Mo was doing that, he must have a good reason. Of course, Yi Mo had his reasons. Out of those who could dominate there, he was the most suitable. He didn't want Flowing Snake to be a place where power ruled over all. Since he was planning to make that place his home, he must control its power. There was no point in trying to reason with these people. When he could completely control Flowing Snake, then he would make the laws. Before that, he could only use slaughter to solve problems. Yi Mo's words sometimes made everyone feel that it was easy to talk to him, but then they realized that in certain moments it wasn't easy to talk him at all. And during those moments, he was very scary. Yi Mo looked at Yang Jiu, who had got excited, and said, "Don't let yourself get influenced by those scam businesses. As for those who try to rule over Flowing Snake, kill them all if they have killed here or raped women. No need to report. But if you do what the person before you did, and use authority to your own personal gains, the next one to lose his head is you." Yes, Yang Jiu shivered. He understood that it was okay to be lenient with friends, but these relationships couldn't be brought into the city management. That would just make the city worse and worse. Huan Gui started to sweat. He had killed many people and raped more than 10 women. If they did follow Yi Mo's orders, he would die for sure. Xiao Fire suddenly pointed at Huan Gui and the 2 people behind him and said, "These 3 people have all killed. And I also know they've raped women who came to Flowing Snake." He. I also knew about this, but Big Boss didn't call before. Yang Jiu had a creepy laughter. Before they could react, the 3 had already fallen to the ground. Other than Yi Mo, not even Zhang Jiayan got to see what Yang Jiu did. He was an Earth-rank Earth Fiend assassin after all. Yi Mo looked coldly at Xiao Metal, who was on the ground. If it hadn't been for Fong Nan, he would have already thrown a fireball at him. Yang Jiu and Fong Nan, take your men and start working. The rest of you, follow me for a meeting. Yi Mo knew that the dangers at Flowing Snake weren't just those that he had seen. The real danger was from the neighboring countries. Not even he could deal with these dangers easily. When Yi Mo finished, Yu Miaodan and the others went back to Luoyu headquarters, where Yiling rushed over. She had just got news of her brother's return, so she immediately stopped working on the medicine she was making and ran out. She grabbed Jimo's arm and then saw Ning Qingxue. She immediately ran to Ning Qingxue and grabbed her arm joyfully. "Sister-in-law Qingxue, you're back. That's great. My brother was really worried." Although Yi Mo had never said it, Yiling knew that Ning Qingxue was very important to him. Although she used to not like Ning Qingxue, since her brother liked her, how could she disrespect with her? And, "Thank you, Yiling. I didn't expect you to be in Flowing Snake as well." Ning Qingxue immediately thought of Yi Mo's other sister, Tang Beiwei. There were some things that Yi Mo hadn't had time to tell her, so she still didn't know what was going on. She believed that Tang Beiwei was someone Yi Mo liked, just like her. Although Ning Qingxue could guess that She didn't ask. She knew that if that was really the case, Yi Mo would find some time to tell her. So she wasn't worried. Sister Qingxue, why don't you just stay in Flowing Snake from now on? This place is great. Yi Ling had been living in Flowing Snake for a while and had developed an attachment to it. But she knew that Ning Qingxue had her own company and probably would go back to Yu State. She didn't expect Ning Qingxue to smile sweetly and say, "Okay, I'll bring some things back from Ning Hai, and then I'll start living here." "Really? This is great," said Yi Mo. Yi Ling had already forgotten her brother was next to them. Ning Qingxue thought that, although her family also had a company, she was married to Yi Mo now, so she should start helping Yi Mo out in Flowing Snake. Hu and Lu Xiaojun also came to greet Yi Mo. Seeing all these familiar people come greet him, Yi Mo felt more determined to turn Flowing Snake into a place that these people would be safe in. CEO Zhang, gather the people into the meeting room first. Yi Ling and Qingxue may also go in the meeting room first. Sister Yu, take me to see Guiqi and Fong Wei. Yi Mo hadn't forgotten about them, although he didn't know why they had killed military officials, but if they had been set a trap, he would help them. Guiqi had his approval. He was a very loyal man. When Yi Mo saw Guiqi and Fong Wei, they were clearly lost and looked sort of dumb. They both sat in the room, not moving. They had gun wounds on them, but it seemed that Yu Miaodong had got people to take care of that for them. When Yi Mo saw Guiqi and Fong Wei, they were clearly lost and looked sort of dumb. They both sat in the room, not moving. They had gun wounds on them, but it seemed that Yu Miaodong had got people to take care of that for them. "Brother Yi, we're sorry. We are causing you trouble. We really don't have anywhere we can go." Guiqi saw that Yi Mo was expressionless. "Master." Although Yi Mo hadn't taken Fong Wei in as his disciple, he was still used to calling Yi Mo master. Yi Mo smiled and let those two sit down before asking, "What happened?" Guiqi sighed and didn't say what it was. "Brother Yi, I'm really grateful to your friend, Sister Yu. If it wasn't for her taking us in, we'd probably be dead now. I really didn't expect you to know the CEO of Luoyu." After hesitating for a while, Guiqi continued, "To be honest, if it wasn't for Lin Lin, I really wouldn't have come here to trouble you, but I know that no one else other than you can save her. Although this request is overbearing, I really want to save her." Guiqi didn't finish explaining. Seeing this, Fong Wei quickly said, "Sister Lu and Brother Gua are in love with each other, and last time when we were back, Sister Lu had gotten promoted. This was a good thing, but just when they were about to get married, something big happened. A week ago, the Grand Master who once instructed us, Su Shi, brought in a young man called Qiu Jifei to train in our squad. His origin is very powerful, and he could choose which squad to stay in. Eventually, he chose to stay in the Eagle Squad, led by Sister Lu. This was fine, but the second day after he joined, he got drunk and he got into Sister Lu's room, wanting to assault her. However, he couldn't beat Sister Lu and was knocked out. Qiu Jifei? Yi Mo suddenly remembered the Beijing Qiu family. Was it them again? If it was, then they were really too cocky. He had just taught Qiu Zhizha and Qiu Dongchen a lesson in Beijing, but now they were causing trouble again. Fong Wei continued. As soon as Qiu Jifei had been knocked out, Sister Lu's door was kicked open. Lieutenant Han and a sergeant came in together. What Sister Lu didn't expect was that they not only didn't stop Qiu Jifei, but instead apprehended Sister Lu. Then they tried persuading Sister Lu into doing as Qiu Jifei pleased, saying that if she did, she could immediately rise to colonel. Guiqi clenched his fists. Fong Wei looked at Guiqi and continued. Of course, Lu's sister didn't agree. At that moment, Qiu Jifei stood up and told Lieutenant Han and the instructor to strip off Sister Lu's clothes. Those two really wanted to do it and were about to rip her clothes. Right that moment, Brother Gua and I saw this disgusting scene. Brother Gu pulled out his dagger and stabbed Lieutenant Han without hesitation. I helped him stop the sergeant, but because Brother Gu saw Sister Lu's clothes were seriously torn after he killed the lieutenant, he killed the sergeant too. Gui Chi continued. Those animals had tried to rape Lin Lin. I couldn't control my hands, and I just had to kill them. After I thought about it, I felt that Qiu Zhifei had done it on purpose. That day, when he got drunk and entered Lin Lin's room, he still had 2 men following him. No matter what, it seemed planned. If I hadn't happened to be looking for Lu Lin that day, I don't dare to imagine what would have happened. Fong Wei nodded. When Sister Lu told us this, Brother Gu got very angry and crushed Qiu Zhifei's scrotum. Just when Brother Gu was about to kill Qiu Zhifei, people came. Brother Gu didn't have a gun and didn't manage to kill him on time. He pushed us and fled, but we didn't go very far since Sister Lu's leg had been shot. Sister Lu stopped and told us two to leave her behind. She said that if we all got caught, then we wouldn't have a chance in the future. Although we had been also shot, we still ran away. However, we didn't have a place to go, so we could only come to Master's place. Brother Gu wanted to ask Master to save Sister Lu. Sister Lu is being held captive in the barracks. Other than Master, no one can save her. After hearing this, Yi Mo felt a little sad. He knew that Gui Chi had guessed right, that Qiu Zhifei had planned this. He wanted to use getting drunk as an excuse to rape Lu Lin, but was afraid he would be no match for her, so he had called 2 men to help him. If that happened to him, he would have killed everyone without hesitation, like Gui Chi. Although Lu Lin was very curvaceous, her looks were only average. Why would the Qiu family choose Lu Lin? But Yi Mo didn't ask why. Regardless of the reason, they needed to be held responsible. Seeing Yi Mo sunk into silence, Gui Chi knelt down. Brother Yi, I know my request is overbearing, but I know that if there's someone in this world who can save her from there, it's you. With Su Shi's power, even if our entire little squad attacked him, we wouldn't last a minute. Lin Lin is very pitiful. She chose to join the military because she had been heartlessly abandoned. I would rather suffer myself than have Lin Lin get raped by that animal. Yi Mo immediately pulled Gui Chi up and said, We're friends, don't be like that. I know Captain Lu, I will help you for sure. How about this? I'll go to a meeting first because Luo Yu is my company and I haven't been back for a long time. I'll finish arranging some things. After that, I'll go with you to the barracks. Master, is Luo Yu your company? Fong Wei's mouth was wide open. He had disbelief in his face. Yi Mo smiled and nodded. Yeah, if you don't want to stay in the military, you can always choose to help me here. Of course, how can I still stay in the military after this? We'll be dead as soon as we get seen. Gui Chi, what about you? Fong Wei asked with joy. He no longer looked pale and numb. Compared to Gui Chi, he cared less about being wanted. Gui Chi said in a deep voice, No matter what happens with Lin Lin, my life will be yours, Brother Yi. When Yi Mo came into the meeting room, Yu Miaodan and the other had been waiting for a long while. Yi Mo smiled apologetically and said, I was delayed due to some things. Let's get straight to the point. We'll be having our first big meeting after opening. Sister Yu, tell us about the corporation. Hearing this, Yu Miaodan immediately said, To be honest, if it wasn't that our product was absurdly magical, we would have shut down before we even began. We don't have a proper management procedure. We don't even have proper pharmacist staff. Yi Mo nodded. She had gone straight to the point. He didn't need to look into the specifics to know. Seeing this, everyone knew that it wasn't easy to manage a company. Although they were the earliest group of people Yi Mo had brought with him to the company, none of them could manage a company properly. If it wasn't for Yu Miaodan, the situation could have been worse. It seems like I need to find a suitable person to manage the company. Yi Mo frowned. He didn't know who would be suitable for the job either. How about I give it a try? Ning Qingxue whispered by Yi Mo's ear. Although she wasn't old, she had had many years of experience managing a company. Yi Ling said excitedly. Yeah, brother, you should let sister-in-law handle the company. I can help too. Yi Mo was touched by the idea. Since Ning Qingxue had said this, it meant that she was willing to stay in Flowing Snake long term, helping him. Okay, we'll do that. From now on, Qingxue will be the president of Luoyu. Sister Yu, the CEO, responsible for sales, management, and expansion. CEO Zong will still be responsible for production and buying supplies, as well as some other things. Then Yi Mo looked at Su Ping and said, Second brother, I'll leave the safety of the company and Flowing Snake to you. As for a managing person, I will find someone. I'm fine with it, Su Ping said excitedly. He had only been with his third brother for a short while and was already black, level middle stage. He couldn't have imagined in the past how quickly he was progressing. There are still some miscellaneous matters that I will give to Su Yuhua to deal with, Zhang Jian said hesitantly. A while ago, there were a lot of people with doubtful identities coming to Flowing Snake. However, during this period, we didn't have enough men yet to investigate. After I told Su Ping about this, we were about to start investigating, but these people disappeared completely. It's very eerie, as though they came and left together under some arrangement. Yi Mo smiled. I will deal with this, second brother. If you find people like that again, kill them all. Yi Mo smiled. I will deal with this, second brother. If you find people like that again, kill them all. Of course, Yi Mo knew why they had come and left. Probably those two guys he had threatened from the Hong martial sect had spread the news, and it was related to that. For now, he needn't worry about these people investigating him. He just needed to find a moment to collect some taxes from them. Yu Miaodan saw that Yi Mo had dealt with this already and felt assured. She turned and said, President Yi, I think that if we manage to buy this land here, we won't have that much trouble. If we make our business bigger, I think other people might get jealous. Although Yu Miaodan didn't say who these other people were, Yi Mo knew it clearly. Although Lu Sei and Vietnam hadn't done anything yet, it was hard to say if it would stay like that in the future. Sister Yu, wait until Sister Yuhua arrives. Then you can discuss a specific plan on how to buy the land. See what they say. Yi Mo also believed that the problem must be solved immediately, otherwise it would always be a hidden threat. Su Ping nodded seriously and said, Third brother, I believe once we establish Flowing Snake as our land, we can establish another hidden sect. No, we'll establish a public hidden sect. Let everyone know the prosperity of Flowing Snake. Yu Miaodan smiled. Second brother's words are a little limited. I believe one day we can consider building Flowing Snake into a country-like city. We could hold a magnificent fete. By then, we could call this place Luoyu City. Yi Mo smiled. If he had been just by himself, he wouldn't have even considered establishing a city. But now there were more and more people following him. If he really could establish a city of his own, then it would indeed be great. But Yi Mo didn't feel that Flowing Snake was a good place to build a city. The land was too small. Another thing was that his power was too weak. He hadn't even finished foundation establishment. It was easy to say, but building a city was harder than reaching the skies. Regardless of whether he had an army, a bomb could always suddenly blow it all away. Actually, Yi Mo had a bigger plan, but his power was still too weak. If his power reached a certain stage, then he could establish a big city and set up a defense formation. Although that defense formation would be trash in the cultivation realm, it would be fine on Earth. Yi Mo also knew that it was almost impossible, even if he could reach foundation establishment. So what? Were there any spirit stones anywhere? What about the formation materials? Putting those thoughts aside, after Yi Mo finished discussing the specifics, the phone in the meeting room rung. Yu Miaodan picked up the phone and listened. Then her face changed drastically. Yang Jiu and Fong Nan were beaten when they were checking Flowing Snake. They're seriously wounded. Xiao said that those who beat Han Zai were from the military. A lot of policemen also came to Flowing Snake, so they didn't retaliate, Yu Miaodan said, as she placed the phone down. Yi Mo stood up. Sister, you prepare the company for Qingxue. I will go have a look. Qingxue will be completely responsible for the company from now on. Qingxue, I'll leave this to you. I'm going out for a bit. Ning Qingxue nodded. Go, I will deal with things here for you. Yi Mo came to the place of the incident. Fong Nan and Yang Zhou were pointed at by guns with 20 people around them in camo. There were also more than 10 policemen standing on the side. Everyone had a gun, and the atmosphere was tense. Han Zai was on the ground. His leg was covered in blood. There was also a young man beside him, but he had taken a bullet to the heart and died. Brother Yi, big boss. Yi Mo had arrived, so Fong Nan and Yang Zhou greeted. Yi Mo nodded and looked coldly at the people around them. He pointed at the two men on the ground. What's this? Fong Nan said. These people say they're from the border barracks. They wanted to break into our building to search. So we stopped them. But they were unreasonable. They killed Jian Liang and shot Han Zai. Clap, 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 a bleak voice said. Finally, someone who dares to talk. If no one had come, we would have gone straight in and killed anyone who dares to stand in our way. Yi Mo looked coldly at this man in camo. His badge meant that he was a warrant officer. You're very cocky. Did you kill him? Who gave you permission to kill people here? Yi Mo said coldly. This warrant officer studied Yi Mo and also said coldly, do I need your permission to kill? If anyone else tries stop me, I will kill them all. Don't tell me this isn't my land. This isn't your land either. In Flowing Snake, whoever is stronger is better. Now, I'm stronger than why a dash before he could finish. He grasped his neck tightly, but he couldn't stop the blood from gushing out. He stared at Yi Mo in horror. He hadn't expected someone to really dare attack him. He had only seen Yi Mo's hand move a little. How can you dare to kill me? Although he wanted to say that, the words got stuck in his throat. Slump, the warrant officer dropped dead on the ground with his eyes wide open in disbelief. Yi Mo said plainly, it seems like I'm stronger than you. The soldiers around them reacted quickly and raised their guns. Slush blood flashed across the air, and the three men who had raised their guns all had their hands sliced off. The gun fell on the ground, and so did they with a pale face. Yi Mo scanned them and said coldly, the reason I didn't kill these three yet is because I haven't told you my rules yet. My rule is that if someone dares to point guns at me, I will kill them without hesitation. And if someone dares to kill anyone in Flowing Snake, I will make you pay with your life. No one had seen how Yi Mo had attacked. Everyone at the site stayed silent, seeing three people mysteriously lose their hands. The rest of them all lowered their guns. Even Yang Zhou and Fong Nan were shocked. Yi Mo had dared to kill a military officer. Although this was Flowing Snake, everyone was still a Chinese resident. The young man's strength was too absurd. It was as though he only needed to move his hand, and he could kill invisibly. A man in his 30s moved forward and said to the men behind him, put your guns down. Even if this man hadn't said it, all the men would have put their guns down. After this, he walked to Yi Mo in his own manner. We come from the borderland barracks. I'm Li Dong. You're very strong. You must be an ancient martial arts cultivator? Is it because you're strong or because you come from a hidden sect that you can kill our officer? Even if you kill all of us, do you think this little place can stop our army? Yi Mo said plainly, so, in that case, you should be the one who kills our people, right? When you open fire, should we raise our hands and wait to be killed? How can that be compared? We came here to apprehend people. It's normal to accidentally kill. If we really wanted to shoot, would there have been only one death? Don't you think everyone here would have been dead? Furthermore, Warrant Officer Liao only killed an ordinary person, but you killed a warrant officer. Even if he had made a mistake, it's not your right to kill him. Li Dong said with a bursting red face. Yi Mo's tone was sharp. Killing is a mistake? So, that means you're better than others? Sorry, in flowing snake pack away your arrogant attitude. Here everyone is equal. Who kills pays. Piss off, you're not welcome here. If you hassle more, I will kick you out. I don't care who you are. Even if you kill me now, I will still say you deserve death sentence for killing a military officer. We came to apprehend Guiqi and Fong Wei. Tell me, are those two here? I can leave, but after I do, I will come back with tanks and missiles. Li Dong's tone also turned darker. It could be seen that no matter how strong Yi Mo was, he still feared death. Yi Mo sneered. Piss off. Tell your officer that I will bring Guiqi and Fong Wei over. And about Qiu Zhifei, tell him to clean his neck for me to cut. If Captain Lu is harmed in any way, even Han Zixin won't be able to save him. What? Director Han? Li Dong was shocked with words. He was someone who knew about Director Han and could call his name. He couldn't be a simple person. Who are you? Li Dong's tone wasn't as tough as before. This was the first time he had seen someone acting so dominant after having killed a warrant officer. Tell you, officer, to investigate this matter thoroughly. Otherwise, don't blame me. Although Yi Mo appreciated Li Dong's courage, he disliked his attitude of acting better than everyone else. He came from the cultivation realm. There, if people were stronger than you, they felt higher than you, and this Li Dong was doing the same. Are you Yi Mo? Beijing Yi Mo? Li Dong's face changed. He didn't know what to say anymore. The men behind Li Dong looked at him in shock. Was Yi Mo very famous? How come they hadn't heard of him? Why did Captain Li treat him like that? The men behind Li Dong looked at him in shock. Was Yi Mo very famous? How come they hadn't heard of him? Why did Captain Li treat him like that? But although they didn't know who Yi Mo was, they could tell he was no ordinary person. Furthermore, everyone knew who Director Han was, and the young man had called him by his full name. Li Dong was very shocked. Other people didn't know who Yi Mo was, but he did. He was from the Beijing Li family. And although he was from a branch, the Li family made as a clear rule that Yi Mo was the person they must get on his good side with. Anyone who offended Yi Mo would be kicked out of the Li family. Thinking about this, Li Dong started to sweat. Although he wasn't afraid of death, getting kicked out of the family would be humiliating. Warrant Officer Liao might already be dead, just like how Song Qiming was killed mysteriously. Everyone knew that it was probably Yi Mo, but no one dared to do anything to him. A mere warrant officer was nothing. It probably wouldn't change anything. Yet, funnily enough, he had been still trying to make Yi Mo pay with his life and report him. Now that he thought about it, he had been too naive. Even if Yi Mo hadn't been that strong, could their army really come to Flowing Snake? It wasn't China's land. If their army came, there would be war. Now, not only did Warrant Officer Liao die for nothing, but Qiu Zhifei was also over. No matter how strong the Qiu family was, they weren't as powerful as the Song family in their prime. He hadn't expected Guiqi and Lu Lin to know Yi Mo. This wasn't as simple as it looked anymore. This meant that the Qiu family had offended Yi Mo. It was a fight between the Qiu family and Yi Mo. If he intervened, he would just be pawn. Yi Qinbei, sorry, we were just following orders. We didn't intentionally offend you. Guiqi and Fong Wei killed a colonel-level officer. This isn't something I can decide upon. Li Dong was sweating. He knew it was a battle between gods, and he had gotten involved. He was desperately thinking of ways to make the situation better. Yi Mo sneered. Oh, how come did I hear something different to what you said? That guy, Qiu Zhifei, used drunkenness as an excuse to assault Captain Lu. That colonel and that warrant officer helped him instead and tried to coerce Captain Lu into agreeing. Guiqi helped Lu Lin resist and killed that scum. What? Li Dong immediately realized that he and his team mates were being used. No wonder they specifically chose him to capture Guiqi. They were scared that if news got out, the Li family could only be forced to help the Chiu family. In that moment, Li Dong felt like he had swallowed a fly. Although he knew that Guiqi must have intentionally killed and not just help resist, that wasn't important anymore. He was being used, and he hadn't even known about it. It was fine if Warrant Officer Liao died. He had been trying to use him. But the three brothers that lost their arms, they were his responsibility. Although it was a one-sided story that came from Yi Mo, comparatively, he trusted Yi Mo more. Qiu Zhifei's words were suspicious. Furthermore, with Yi Mo's status and power, he didn't need to lie about such a small thing. If he wanted to save Guiqi and Feng Wei, all he had to say was that they were his men. Li Dong's soldiers also felt something wasn't right. They had all heard Yi Mo's words, and it seemed to be different from what Warrant Officer Liao had said at the start of the mission. Something didn't seem right. Captain Lu was one of the few female captains. Many people had heard of her. How could she have helped others kill military officers? Yi Qinbei, it is my fault this time. I shouldn't have come apprehended people without doing my own investigation. I need to save my brothers first before I can repent. Li Dong apologized and slapped himself twice in the face. After this, Li Dong said, "Take these three to the hospital immediately. Their hands have been cut off." Li Dong knew he was putting up a show, but he was unsatisfied. Since he had already offended Yi Mo, he would make sure that the person who used him would also suffer. Furthermore, it wouldn't be Mo Tianyu, that bastard, had nefarious intentions indeed, looking at ferocious soldiers come and leave desperately. Yi Mo sighed. If he wasn't Yi Mo, then even if Li Dong knew he was wrong, he would have still captured these people without hesitation. Sometimes the world was like this. Although there were good things about Li Dong, he still had the arrogance of members from big families. Yi Mo didn't like that. And the last two slaps had been obviously an act. This made him look down on it. But regardless, Li Dong had some sense of responsibility and had remembered to save his men. Although Yi Mo could cure their hands, he wouldn't do it for someone who had pointed a gun at him. "Sorry, Brother Yi, we caused you trouble." Guiqi and Feng Wei already knew there were people coming to get them and had walked outside. But when they did, Li Dong had already left. Yi Mo smiled and said, "It might mean trouble to you, but I really don't consider it trouble. We'll go to the borderland barracks in the afternoon." Guiqi hesitated and asked, "Brother Yi, how is Shao Qi?" Shao Qi. Yi Mo was dazed. He didn't remember who she was. Feng Wei quickly said, "Master, Brother Gua meant Qi Wanqing. After you left, she also left the military. She said to Sister Lu that she was going to go find you, and since then, we haven't been in contact, so..." Hearing this, the image of Qi Wanqing's pretty face appeared in his mind. Yi Mo treated her like Yiling, like his sister. But from how she had been to Ning Qingxue when looking for him in the desert, he knew she seemed to feel different about him. Qingxue said that she had gone to study abroad in England. He wondered how she was. Yi Mo was dazed for a second, and then remembered that Guiqi was waiting for his reply. He smiled bitterly and shook his head. "I've only seen her once after that. I heard she went to England. I don't know anything else about it." "Master, are you saying that you're going to take me and Brother Gua to the borderland barracks?" Feng Wei remembered. He knew that Yi Mo wouldn't harm them, but he still couldn't help feeling worried. Yi Mo nodded. "And we'll go after lunch. Mo Hai has a helicopter here. We'll use that to get there." "Huh? Are we really going?" "Master, if we go, how will we even live to come back?" Feng Wei asked worriedly. Yi Mo smiled. "If we don't go, how are we going to save anyone?" "Yes, we'll have to save Sister Lu." "Wait, Master. Even if we were going to save her, we should sneak in there. If we just appear there like that and hope to leave easily, wouldn't it be suicide?" Feng Wei asked. "Regardless of how it may be, I will go." Guiqi clenched his fist. Feng Wei immediately said, "Brother Gua, I'm coming too, of course. But If we sneak in there, I think our chances would be bigger. Yes, Guichi looked at Yi Mo confused, going straight in like that was suicide. Yi Mo waved his hand. We'll just go, doing it the proper way after lunch. Guichi's Eagle Special Forces Squad belonged to the Xiang Yun Military Zone's Special Forces Department. Despite it being a peaceful era, the Special Forces had more missions than normal soldiers. Every military zone would have its own Special Forces Squad. These Special Forces were different to the flying squads of Beijing. The requirements weren't as strict. Because Li Dong hadn't informed the people at the barracks, Yi Mo's helicopter couldn't land straight in. They had to land relatively far, and then had to call a taxi to the military zone. But when they arrived, they were stopped. Because Li Dong hadn't informed the people at the barracks, Yi Mo's helicopter couldn't land straight in. They had to land relatively far, and then had to call a taxi to the military zone. But when they arrived, they were stopped. Yi Mo knew that it was because they didn't have the IDs, and taxis couldn't go into the military zone. But Yi Mo also could see that Li Dong hadn't told them that he was coming. Although he wasn't a great person, Yi Mo believed that even the highest level of officer at the military zone didn't dare to disrespect him. Eventually, he had been stopped at the door, which meant that Li Dong hadn't passed his words on. His intentions were obvious. Yi Mo sneered. Li Dong didn't seem righteous. Using his schemes on Yi Mo, he did it to the wrong person. The reason Yi Mo told Li Dong to tell them he was coming was because he didn't want this thing to get bigger. Darkness was everywhere, and he wasn't the savior. Neither did he want to eradicate such thing. He knew that it was impossible. He just wanted to save Lulin and cancel the apprehension order for Feng Wei and Guichi. It was fine when Yi Mo got off, but when Guichi and Feng Wei did, they were immediately recognized by the guards at the door. Before they raised their guns, Yi Mo showed his ID. He had come to save people, not start a massacre. The soldiers' reactions were very normal. They didn't know what was really going on, but even if they did, they would still act according to their orders. The fine printed words "Flying Snow Instructor" appeared before their eyes and almost blinded them. He was the top Special Forces instructor. That was just a level below a general. Although he didn't lead an army, the status was still there. "Director, please come in." The two soldiers bowed. They didn't dare doubt Yi Mo's identity. Who would dare fake his identity in a military zone? "Master, you..." Feng Wei had felt nervous about Yi Mo going straight in, but this scene bewildered him. Yi Mo was actually a director. Yi Mo smiled. "Just let me take you inside, and I will talk with your head officer." Despite this, Yi Mo was still grateful to Han Zixin for giving him that hollow title. Otherwise, he could have only fought his way in. Yi Mo didn't want to fight these soldiers, but his patience was about to end, and if it did, he would kill mercilessly. It's Guichi and Feng Wei. As soon as they walked into the Special Forces area, people immediately recognized the two of them and reported it. Some held their guns and surrounded them. "It's you, Instructor Yi." A major had walked over and happened to see Yi Mo, so he ran over to him quickly. "You're Chen Hongxia," Yi Mo said plainly. He knew this person. He had saved him in the desert. Li, who was his teammate. Somehow he had come to this military zone and became a major. As though he knew Yi Mo didn't like him that much, Chen Hongxia laughed awkwardly and said, "Because this military zone was short of people, I was moved here. Thank you for saving my life last time." Yi Mo waved his hand. "That's fine. I came here to find your leader. How come I haven't seen him?" Seeing Guichi and Feng Wei behind him, Chen Hongxia immediately realized what was going on. He knew all too well about the matter of Guichi, but he didn't expect Guichi to know Yi Mo, much less to be able to get him to come to the barracks personally. If word of this got to Beijing, it would be significant. Li Dong and him were the same. They both knew about Yi Mo. It was hard even for Elder Han to ask Yi Mo to do something, much less let him go personally. Tianyu was gone. That was Chen Hongjia's only thought. What do you want? Rebellion? Hurry up and disperse yourselves. Chen Hongjia turned around and yelled at the soldiers with guns. If the soldiers had seen that Yi Mo was talking with Chen Hongjia, perhaps they would have already fired. Now that Chen Hongjia had yelled at them, they seemed to realize that something was wrong. But Chen Hongjia was their instructor. They didn't dare not to listen to him. So they walked away. Instructor, I will take you. Regimental Commander Tian is in the training grounds because Instructor Su came over. He needed to oversee the training status of the soldiers. Chen Hongjia replied carefully. Yi Mo nodded. Okay, take me to that Tian you just talked about now. It's hard to believe someone like him has managed to reach Regimental Commander. Yi Mo was no idiot. He knew that the reason Qiu Zhifei had dared to assault Lu Lin must have been due to having someone to back him up. If such thing happened, and the regimental commander didn't even know about it, he could go eat shit. If this commander knew about it, and this incident still happened, the only reason would be that the commander was supporting it. As though he could see Yi Mo's contempt, Chen Hongjia said, Commander Tian is called Tian Yoning. His wife is called Qiu Ping. She is probably from the Beijing Qiu family. It's said that he will soon rise in rank. Yi Mo immediately understood what was going on. He was sure that Qiu Ping and Qiu Zhifei were related. But Chen Hongjia wasn't a simple case either. Although he was very selfish, he seemed much more cunning than Li Hu. No wonder he rose the ranks faster than Li Hu. He knew that it was very easy for him to help Gui Qi, but still subtly reminded him of Tian Yoning's power. It seemed like he just said it casually, getting him on his good side, while not really offending Tian Yoning. Gui Qi and Feng Wei were dazed. No matter how dumb they were, they could see Yi Mo's status. Chen Hongjia was the vice instructor of the 7th Battalion, and even someone like him was that respectful to Yi Mo. The training ground for the 7th Special Forces Battalion was huge. Although many people were very shocked at seeing Gui Qi and Feng Wei, they didn't dare to move when they saw Chen Hongjia, who carefully led the way. Gui Qi and Feng Wei were famous due to the incident. There was some clapping due to an exciting fight. Instructor Chen, you're here. An officer walked over, but immediately stopped speaking. He had seen Gui Qi and Feng Wei behind him. Gui Qi, Feng Wei, you dare to walk into the military zone like this. Yu Yang immediately dash. A fat man in his 40s had turned around and saw Gui Qi and Feng Wei, but he also stopped speaking halfway. It wasn't because he had seen Yi Mo. He didn't know Yi Mo, but he saw Commander Li running quickly for something. The target he was running to was a young man sitting with Gui Qi. This fat man was the Commander Tian Yoning. Although he was capable, the reason he could reach his position was mostly due to his wife's family. For someone like him, how could he not tell Yi Mo was no simple person? Commander Li ran to Yi Mo, and even Chen Hongjia was nodding and bowing to Yi Mo. He felt something was wrong, because Chen Hongjia never had done that to him. What shocked him even more was when Commander Li ran to this young man to salute. Tian Yuning rubbed his eyes. Did a chief commander, especially Commander Li, salute that man? He didn't need to look so reverent and careful. Tian Yuning felt an instinctual sense of dread. He allowed Qiu Zhifei to assault Lu Lin because he had done his research beforehand. These people didn't have anyone powerful to back them up. Why did this happen and Gui Qi called out someone this big? He was sure that young man was quite close to Gui Qi. One could tell just by how they were walking to each other. The last thought in Tian Yuning's mind was, it's over. Chapter 434. Want to watch the tigers battle it out? Chapter 434. Want to watch the tigers battle it out? Tian Yuning immediately started thinking of ways to save his life. he immediately thought of Su Shi. The Li family was a behemoth, but it didn't mean that everyone feared him. Su Shi didn't fear the Li family. Su Shi was from the Heaven Squad. He wouldn't be afraid of the Li family. Even if the Li family leader Li Mingyong saw Su Shi, he needed to show his respects. If it was Su Shi's master, then he needed to be even more respectful. If he got Su Shi to deal with the young man, then even Li Qiankai couldn't do anything about it. And Su Shi had to fight the young man because Guiqi had killed the warrant officer Su Shi had brought. This was a slap to Su Shi's face. Tian Yuning thought about this and almost laughed. It had nothing to do with him. Why was he even scared? He couldn't help to commend himself for being so smart. Commander Li, Tian Yuning. Tian Yuning's fat figure was very agile. He immediately ran to Li Qiankai and bowed. Li Qiankai waved his hand annoyingly and stopped him from talking. He knew that Yi Mo was there due to Li Dong, and although Li Dong wanted to harm Tian Yuning, he didn't dare to hide it from his uncle. Li Qiankai wasn't someone Li Dong could compare with. He knew too much about Yi Mo. Not even the Li family could be able to stop Yi Mo's power, and the Li family needed to have connections with Yi Mo. One time, Li Qiang had met Yi Mo. They ate dinner together, and he was lucky enough to help Yi Mo big time. Now, he was an important member of the family. This time, he had such a good opportunity, he didn't want to let it go. Just when Yi Mo wanted to talk, Tian Yuning had interrupted him, and it made him very annoyed. "Are you Li Qiankai?" Li Qiankai had already told Yi Mo who he was when he saw him. Now that Yi Mo was asking again, he felt strange, but still replied carefully. Yi Mo nodded and said, "I've seen you once. Instructor Yi has seen me before." Li Qiankai was shocked. He knew Yi Mo wouldn't make things up, but he was always in the military. How could have Yi Mo seen him? Although he really wanted to call him Brother Yi like Li Qiuyang or Yi Qianbei, but for now he could only call him using his official title, Instructor. Yi Mo smiled. "A year ago, I was at an auction in the Wuliang Mountains Xixia Temple. I even sold a few pills there. When I entered, I saw 2 people from your Li family." "What?" Li Qiankai was dumbfounded. Yi Mo's words were like lightning blasting into his head. Although the Li family was also a part of the 5 great families, only the Li and Zhang families had people in the hidden sections. Zhang family only had Zhang Zhihui, and he basically never stayed with the Zhang family. So the Li family was the greatest family in China because they had direct connections with the hidden sects, and many of their members would be sent to the hidden sects for cultivation. It could be said that the power of the Li family was far from what the other 4 families could compare with, excluding the Zhang family if they actually did have Zhang Zhihui with them. There were few people who knew that the Li family had power in the hidden sects, yet Yi Mo had just mentioned it casually, and this made Li Qiankai very shocked. There were families with connections to the hidden sects, but they usually wouldn't get too involved or the government would get offended. But the Li family could even go to hidden sect auctions where one could see clearly their relationship. Wait, if Yi Mo knew that he and Li Qiuming had gone to the auction, then it meant that he also went. How come he didn't see Yi Mo? He said he had been selling pills there. Huh? Li Qiankai was astonished again. Was he the person who sold the face-preserving pill and then took the blue carrot from the Xia family? It must be him. Yi Mo saw Li Qiansai's expression and immediately knew that he had recognized him. What happened in the past was no longer a secret, and with his current power, he didn't need to hide it. That day at the auction, he had seen one person who looked like Li Qiuyang and a person next to him with a mask on. That person seemed to be Li Qiankai. Li Qiankai could no longer contain his excitement. A face-preserving pill was worth more than 1 billion. If Yi Mo was the person who had sold it, he only needed to keep making them, and his wealth would be enough to buy any country he pleased. Yi Mo nodded and didn't say anything. He looked at Tian Yuning, who was listening on the side. The man's expression changed rapidly. If his perceptive skills weren't so good, He wouldn't have even thought that this fat man was the person who had been raging about capturing Guiqi and Feng Wei. Tian Yoning had a smile on his face. His look made people think that he was truly happy. Seeing Yi Mo and Li Qiansai's conversation come to an end, Tian Yoning quickly said, "Commander Li, I've prepared a feast to welcome you." "Commander Li, may I ask who this is?" Before Li Qiankai said anything, Yi Mo waved his hand and said, "Are you Tian Yoning? It's only 2 p.m., and you've already started eating. No wonder you're so bulky." Yi Mo's words almost made Tian Yoning puke. He was all fat indeed, but that had nothing to do with being bulky. Although he wanted to eat Yi Mo in that moment, he maintained a warm smile on his face and said, "Ha, it's indeed a bit early for food." Yi Mo said without any manners, "Since it's too early, then bring Captain Lu Lin. I don't have time to waste talking to you." Tian Yoning's face looked a little stale, and his smile became a little forced. Even if Commander Li was going to capture someone, he couldn't act like this. This was smacking him in the face. He had approved the capture of Lu Lin, and now that young man came and told him to release her without giving him any reason. Even if Yi Mo wanted to free her, he needed to give him a reason for it to make sense. He would say, "Oh, is that so? I'll let Lu Lin come over immediately." Afterwards, he would report it and let someone else who could handle a deal with Yi Mo. But he didn't say anything and just asked for her again. He was too bossy, and the young man hadn't even introduced himself. Although Tian Yuning wanted to rage, he didn't dare to. Who could he be for Li Qiankai to treat him so respectfully? Yes, yes. But Lu Lin's case is a bit serious. She has just been transported out, and she is still on the road. "May I ask who are you?" Tian Yoning said carefully. Yi Mo sneered, "Then get her back immediately. I'm taking her away. If she loses even a strand of hair, I will cut off your arm. If she loses a nail, then I will take your life." "You dash." Tian Yoning was an experienced man, but he couldn't help getting angry. That young man was too cocky. Although Li Qiankai didn't know what had happened, he just saw Tian Yoning's face and said, "Commander Tian, I believe you should do as Instructor Yi says." "Oh, yes, yes." Tian Yoning didn't expect Li Qiankai to tell him to listen to the young man without hearing the reason first. Who was this young man? How was he an instructor? "Yu Yang, immediately get Lu Lin back to the barracks." Tian Yoning was full of anger and could only vent it on his men. Seeing Yu Yang leave, Tian Yoning turned around and said to Li Qiankai and Yi Mo with a smile, "Lu Lin would be back in an hour at most. We can go see the training grounds in the meantime." Tian Yoning was planning something. Although Su Shi hadn't returned yet, when he did, the first place he would go to would be the training ground. That way, he would see Guiqi for sure. And when Su Shi would see Guiqi, he would rage and the young man would have to stop him. Like this, he could see the two men fight it out. At this moment, he rejoiced from Guiqi killing Su Shi's warrant officer. Otherwise, his plan wouldn't work. Although he belonged to the Chiu family, he didn't believe the Chiu family would fight with the Li family for a son-in-law. Li Qiankai looked at Yi Mo, and it was clear that he would follow what Yi Mo wanted. Tian Yoning brought them to the training ground. The people watching moved aside. Some recognized Li Qiankai, but just didn't know who was beside him. When everyone saw Guiqi and Feng Shi, they were dumbfounded. The hunt for them was still outgoing. But the two men who had been brought in by Commander Tian himself and Commander Tian seemed to be very respectful. Guiqi and Feng Wei were clueless now. They didn't dare to even guess anything now. They could only stay behind Yi Mo quietly. Although they didn't know how strong Yi Mo exactly was, he had already heard Tian Yoning send people to get Lu Lin. What is going on? "Commander Tian, why can these two criminals walk into the barracks unscathed?" As soon as they walked in, a cold voice sounded. Chapter 435. What are you going to do? Chapter 435. What are you going to do? Hearing the voice, Tianyong rejoiced. He knew who that cold voice belonged to. He didn't expect this woman who wouldn't speak for 1,000 years to care about this. Tianyong looked very awkward, but his heart felt far from awkward. This woman was Su Shi's martial sister, Song Yangju. Since the very moment this woman and Su Shi came to the military, she never said a single word. Although she was part of the Heaven Squad too, Tianyong never relied on her. If it weren't that the Heaven Squad had the obligation to come instruct at the military, this woman wouldn't even have come. Yi Mo subconsciously looked at the woman who had spoken up. She was around 24 or 25. She had such a cold tone, and with that serene temperament, not bad looks, long silky hair, and white skin, she could be called a rare beauty. Seeing Yi Mo look over, she had a sliver of disgust flash across her eyes as she immediately returned to her composed manner. She stared at Tianyong, clearly waiting for his reply. Tianyong absolutely wished for her to fight Yi Mo. How could he not reply? Still, for now, he acted as though he wanted to say something yet didn't dare to. Yi Mo didn't know who this woman was, but he sure noticed the disgust and hatred in her eyes. He didn't know when he'd offended her, but he didn't care. Although he hadn't been here for long, due to his character, he'd offended quite a lot of people, so he didn't mind. If you didn't have any power, then even if you behaved timidly, you would still get abused. He didn't care whether he'd offended people. He cared whether he could beat them. The woman was obviously making clear that she had problems with Yi Mo at that moment. Yi Mo's face also went cold, and he declared plainly Tianyong, Guiqi, and Feng Wei were wronged. Report this fact immediately and take down the pursuit order for them. Report the real culprit. I don't believe you still haven't found out what the real cause was by now. Tianyong frowned. Who did this guy think he was, a general? He spoke as though he was entitled to be making orders. Seeing Tianyong frown and hesitate, Li Qiankai now understood that the reason why Yi Mo had come today was for Guiqi and Feng Wei. Seeing the two on the verge of fighting, Li Qiankai took a step back and called Li Dong. He desperately needed to ask some questions. Although he was a commander and a few levels above Tianyong, Tianyong was a commander of the Special Forces, and he didn't have the authority to command them. To be exact, Tianyong responded directly to Han Zixin, and Han Zixin had a lot of commanders too, so he was in no place to hand out orders to Tianyong. Commander Tian, will you be helping the culprit? As Yi Mo saw this, his face went cold. Humph. Helping the culprit? Guiqi and Feng Wei have killed military officers. Just because they have connections, does that mean they get to be acquitted? If that were the case, then everyone who had connections could kill people as they like. What would remain of the law then? The woman's tone had also grown cold. Yi Mo didn't know when he had offended this person, but she was acting completely against him. He suddenly used his qi to magnify his voice. Qiu Zhifei used intoxication as an excuse to assault Eagle Squad's Captain Lu Lin. Lu Lin resisted, but the warrant officer and a certain colonel who witnessed all of it did not only not help her, they instead helped Qiu Zhifei subjugate Captain Lu. Guiqi and Feng Wei happened to see this, so they tried to protect Lu Lin, and in the process accidentally killed 2 officers. Is it because of the Qiu family having some power in Beijing that they can incriminate the innocent Guiqi and Feng Wei? Everyone, tell me, should Guiqi and Feng Wei be incriminated? Yi Mo explained things in a couple of sentences, with almost everyone in the barracks being able to hear it. The soldiers who didn't know what was going on before immediately understood. Although there were still some people in doubt, everyone knew who Qiu Zhifei was, and that this incident had occurred in Lu Lin's room. The truth was clear. It can't be, right? Since a lot of the soldiers knew that this was related to Commander Tian, no one dared to comment, but they were still unhappy with it. They were soldiers. It was their job to protect the people and the country. If even one female military officer couldn't be protected, how would they be capable of protecting others? At this moment, Li Dong had verified the truth and walked up seriously. I have investigated the matter thoroughly, and all that Instructor Yi said holds true. Such scum. Even more should have been killed. Who cares about just two of them? Commander Li, I order you to immediately exonerate Guiqi and Feng Wei. As Commander Li spoke up, more and more people agreed. Commander Li couldn't lie openly in such a situation. This meant that Guiqi and Feng Wei had really been wrongly accused. Although Tian Yuning knew that Li Qiankai didn't have the authority to command him, when Li Qiankai had already said that much, he couldn't play dead. That would be outright stupid, as he would be offending not only Commander Li, but also the Li family. Nonetheless, he was really unsatisfied having to listen to orders like that. That's what you say? This is nothing but a one-sided story, even though it concerns two high-level officers having been killed. You want to acquit them just based on your side of the story? You're taking military law as a joke. Tian Yuning was afraid of Li Qiankai, but that didn't mean that woman was too. Yi Mo was no longer interested in arguing with this woman. So he said plainly, "That's right. If I say it's true, it's true." Song Yangzhu's face was pale with anger. "Aren't you very cocky?" Su Shi, want to see what sort of man it takes to dare act cocky in the military." A cold and bleak voice sounded. Hearing Su Shi arrive was like heavenly music to Tian Yuning's ears. Finally, someone was coming to fight this arrogant young man. Yi Mo studied the guy. He was in his 40s, had a long face and short hair. He was a bit dark, but still looked aesthetic. The first time Yi Mo had heard about Su Shi was when he was at stage 2, back in the forest when he saved Guiqi and Qi Wanqing. That time, they praised Su Shi as the #1 master, saying that he was Earth-level primary stage. People who killed my men still want to be acquitted and act so cocky? I've seen enough. Su Shi's voice was still cold. He wouldn't let him live that easily, just because he'd offended Martial Sister Song, not to mention he had even killed his men. His martial sister never spoke much, yet she said so much today. One could see how angry she was. "Mr. Su, Instructor Yi is my friend, and in this case Guiqi and Feng Wei are innocent." Li Qiankai only spoke half a sentence and was interrupted by Su Shi. Su Shi looked coldly at Li Qiankai and said, "Commander Li, only the strong are right and just. If you don't want to get the Li family involved in this, don't say a word more. Mark my words, even if the Heavenly Emperor were to come, he wouldn't be able to stop me from getting revenge for killing my men. Our Heaven Squad has never abused its power towards others, but others also shouldn't try to abuse us." Song Yangzhu hesitated, but eventually didn't say anything. Su Shi didn't know Yi Mo, but she did. There was a deep feud between her and Yi Mo. She didn't want Yi Mo to live comfortably. Hence, now that Su Shi challenged Yi Mo, even though she knew that Su Shi was no match for Yi Mo, it would be enough to annoy Yi Mo and make him have more enemies. Yi Mo smiled plainly. "Heaven Squad? Is this Heaven Squad really strong? Is Tan Jiao, that old fart, having itchy skin? It seems I didn't teach him enough of a lesson last time. Looks like I need to go back to Beijing once again. Oh, by the way, Yi Mo, am abusing your Heaven Squad. What will you do about it?" Su Shi raised his eyebrow and felt rage. How dare he say such words? How dare he call his master Tan Jiao an old fart? And he was openly declaring he was abusing the Heaven Squad. Su Shi had never seen someone who didn't fear death to this degree. Hold on, something wasn't right. Someone called Instructor Yi. Who was this Yum? Was he the Yi Mo? Considering this, Su Shi immediately cooled down. Hadn't he just called himself Yi Mo? He remembered what his master once said. "Su Shi, with your power, you might not be able to actually dominate everyone, but there is no one who can do much about you. Just remember this. You must not offend Yi Mo of the Yi family. If you offend him, even I won't be able to save you. Chapter 436. Cruel and Nasty Person. Chapter 436. Cruel and nasty person Tian Yoning was the only person who was happy to see Yi Mo be so cocky. He had the guts to utter such words to Su Shi. He would be a dead man for sure. Tian Yoning was very aware of Su Shi's identity. Even the Li family's leader wouldn't dare say something like abusing the Heaven Squad. This was really a sign of brain damage. This young man was probably too naive. If he were to realize what the Heaven Squad represented, he would probably lose his ability to speak then. Su Shi's face went from green to white. He had heard people say that even his master was no match for this young man, but he really couldn't believe it. His master was at the great heaven level. A great heaven level man was no match for a young man in his 20s. Su Shi really couldn't believe it. Su Shi didn't know whether he should continue challenging Yi Mo or stop there. He was very talented, and under Tan Jiao's careful tutelage, he had finally managed to reach Earth level in his 40s. Even in the hidden sects, only the best genius amongst geniuses could achieve this. If he backed down in front of so many troops, how could he keep his face? Tian Yuning saw Su Shi's face was pale. Of course, he couldn't believe that Su Shi was scared. He believed Su Shi was angered because of Yi Mo, and he knew it was time for him to come out to prove his standpoint. The reason he could reach his current position was due to his good manipulation skills and knowing when to take the right team. A capable person must not only use others to fight others, but also stand on the correct team as fast as possible and stay in it. He was such a manipulative person. He had successfully gotten Su Shi and Yi Mo to fight. Yi Mo had even said such rude words. It was now time for him to pick a side. Tian Yuning sneered. Who are you? Who do you think you are? This is a place for Commander Li and Instructor Su to talk. Who told you to intervene? Is Instructor Su someone you can speak loudly to? Young man, you had a mother that gave birth to you, but you didn't have a mother who taught you manners. You won't live long like this. He knew that Yi Mo's origin couldn't be simple. However, the more he spoke like that, the angrier that man would be. The young man would explode in anger. Then Su Shi would stop him. When they can't hold back any longer, Su Shi would take him out. Then he would support Su Shi and tell him that this young man's background might be detrimental to Su Shi. With Su Shi's arrogance, he would protect him for sure. As long as he got on the good side of Su Shi, he believed Li Qiankai wouldn't go against him for that young man. Perhaps once he got on the good side of Su Shi, the Qiu family would look at him in different light. Although there was a risk in offending that young man if he wanted to climb high, there would always be risks. Slap, slap, 2 slaps hit Tian Yuning's face, and before he could react, a kick landed on his chest. Tian Yuning was pushed back more than 10 meters before landing. He spat out mouthfuls of blood, and he wasn't breathing properly. Of course, Yi Mo knew what the man had been thinking, but he wasn't going to waste time talking to him. Although the kick didn't kill him, he was barely half alive. Tian Yuning crawled on the ground as guards went over to help him up. He looked at Yi Mo with a face of disbelief. That man had dared to attack him openly in the barracks. He wanted to order people to immediately execute Yi Mo. But he couldn't speak. He just wanted Su Shi to attack quickly and kill Yi Mo. But he observed with disappointment that Su Shi didn't do anything about Yi Mo beating him. It seemed as if those cocky words he had said before hadn't come from him. As he sunk in a silence, Tian Yuning's heart sunk. He felt that this time his plan wasn't going too well. The soldiers saw Yi Mo attack and wanted to go up, but Instructor Su and Commander Li were still there talking to Yi Mo. Chen Hongzhe, contact General Han and tell him what happened over here, including Guiqi and Feng Wei's incident, Yi Mo said. Huh. Yes, Instructor Yi. Chen Hongzhe was dazed, but immediately nodded. No matter how powerful Yemo was, he couldn't just attack a high-ranking officer in the barracks like that, but he did. Chun Hongja sighed. Tian Yoning thought he had been smart, but he was instead harmed by it. He was sure Yemo would be completely fine, while Tian Yoning would definitely get in big trouble. Yemo, even if you're the head instructor of the Flying Special Forces, don't you think you're abusing your power a little? Su Shi finally said something. Tian Yuning heard this, and his heart sunk completely. He had been kicked in such a way and had been helping Su Shi, but Su Shi chose not to attack but say something that didn't even matter. He knew he chose the wrong side this time. His mind wasn't completely clear. If he had realized that General Han was Han Zixin, perhaps he would have been even more hopeless. Yi Mo scanned Su Shi and didn't reply. He said to Li Qiankai, "Commander Li, please help deal with Qiu Zhifei. Of course, it's dishonorable that such a disgrace happened in the military." Li Qiankai wasn't afraid of Yi Mo asking for help. He was afraid of Yi Mo not asking him for help. Su Shi's face turned red, but still didn't look for trouble with Yi Mo. He admired his master greatly. Even his master had said not to mess with Yi Mo. How could he? If Yi Mo hadn't attacked Tian Yoning, perhaps he would still try, but from what Yi Mo had done he could see clearly there was no mercy. If Yi Mo was really as strong as his master said then, if he did fight him, it wouldn't end well. Despite him not believing that Yi Mo was that strong, he still wanted to try. But his master wouldn't have lied to him. If Yi Mo was merciless, his life would be over. Su Shi eventually held back his anger and didn't attack despite Yi Mo saying such things. Song Yangzhu shook her head in disappointment. Su Shi was too timid, but she couldn't attack herself either. She knew her power was nothing against Yi Mo. Yi Mo also commended Su Shi for resisting. These sort of people were the most dangerous. An easily angered person was no big threat, no matter how strong he was. If they had been in the cultivation realm, someone like Su Shi was the most dangerous. These sort of person looked like gentlemen, but were very bleak. They could also tolerate all sorts of scorn and mockery, but once they seized an opportunity, they would think of the cruelest way of ending their enemies. If Su Shi had attacked, then even if Yi Mo hadn't killed him, he would have disabled him. But Su Shi didn't attack, so Yi Mo couldn't just go up and beat him up. Yi Mo had a sliver of disappointment in his eyes. Su Shi acted cocky, but he only did so to people he could act cocky with. Song Yangzhu saw his disappointment and was shocked. Did Yi Mo want Su Shi to attack? Sister Lu is back. Fong Wei's eyes were sharp, and he was the first to see Lu Lin get off a jeep. Guiqi had already rushed over there. Yi Mo also saw Lu Lin was fine, and didn't seem to have been interrogated harshly. Then he felt safe to say goodbye to Li Qiankai. The reason he had asked Li Qiankai to deal with Qiu Zhifei was because he didn't want to directly attack the Qiu family. Although Qiu family had offended him twice, these weren't caused due to a direct offense to him. He didn't need to and didn't have the time to annihilate the Qiu family. The Qiu family was different from the Song family. The Song family wanted him dead constantly and kept attacking his kin. That's why he had the killing intent. Yi Mo wasn't a savior, and there were too many cocky second generations of the big families. He couldn't kill them all. As long as they didn't offend him, he didn't care. Seeing Yi Mo leave with the 3 people he had helped and the accompaniment of Commander Li, Su Shi felt relaxed finally. In one instant, he had really wanted to challenge Yi Mo immediately, even if his master told him not to do so. But the moment he did, he had felt an intense killing intent from Yi Mo. Su Shi looked intriguingly at his martial sister Song Yangzhu. She never got involved in others' business, but today she had seen the conflict with Yi Mo due to Guiqi's incident. And when he had been about to attack, she hadn't say anything. Her actions were very odd that day. Chapter 437. Ambushed. Chapter 437. ambushed Lu Lin, and them still couldn't believe that they had gotten out so easily. They joined Flowing Snake without hesitation. Yu Miaodong couldn't believe that Yi Mo had only gone out for a stroll and brought the people back. It was as though killing a military officer didn't matter anything at all. Yu Miaodong felt that she could no longer comprehend her boss. Only Ning Qingxue felt this was normal. She believed in Yi Mo could even cultivate spirit qi. What else could stop him? Yi Mo realized that Yu Miaodong's face didn't look too good, and immediately asked what happened. Ning Qingxue walked up and said, "Our beauty pills have been reported to have negative effects, and 4 cases have been reported in the country. It's still increasing. Side effects." Yi Mo frowned. He didn't really believe his pill had any negative effects. It was impossible. Although they weren't real pills, it was still the result of thousands of years of improvement on the Luoyu continent. How could there be negative effects? Someone was ambushing Luoyu. This was Yi Mo's only thought. He was sure of it. Yi Mo sneered. "You can't beat us overtly, so you use subvert means. Okay, I'll make those schemes fail as well." "Sister Yu, who is ambushing our company?" Yi Mo asked. "President Yi." "How do you know people are ambushing us?" Yu Miaodong was even more shocked. No matter how confident he was about his medicine, he should have a little doubt at least. Yi Mo smiled and didn't reply. Ning Qingxue asked, "It should be Yuan Bei Corporation. They never hid their schemes from us. They're not even afraid of us knowing." "Oh." Yi Mo frowned. Was there such a cocky company? He still hadn't had time to get revenge regarding Qingxue's incident, and they were already asking for trouble again. Yu Miaodong nodded. Yes, Qingxue is right. As soon as problems were reported, Yuan Bei Corporation declared that they would never cooperate with people who produce harmful products, and everyone who did will be their target for attack. They even heavily criticized using fake herbs and added chemical ingredients to harm and lie to the public. The reason this spread so fast was due to them. Yi Mo had a look of contempt. They were ambushing them openly. Like this, Luoyu would immediately know that it was Yuan Bei Corporation attacking them. Because of this, large amounts of journalists have swarmed into Flowing Snake and are preparing to dig up our roots. Today, our beauty pill and health pill sales have dropped significantly. Although we still sold out, it wasn't sold out as soon as we brought the stocks in. This is only the first day. Things might get worse in the future, Yu Miaodong said worriedly. What's the negative effect? Yi Mo asked. Having rashes all over the body and specially focused on the face. This is still the early stage. Many people think the latter stage could be the destruction of face. Yu Miaodong didn't look optimistic. Although she knew they were being framed, she had no way out of this situation. Yi Mo had understood. He immediately said, "Continue to plan for the expansion of the company. I will deal with this. By the way, Sister Yu, did you set up the outlet at Shitong City?" Yu Miaodong immediately said, "That's still in preparation. We haven't sold anything yet." "Okay, then make good use of your time. Guiqi, Feng Wei, and Lu Lin will be our men from now. Let them be responsible for the construction of Flowing Snake and its safety. Let Yang Jiu and Feng Nin assist them for now," Yi Mo said, and then turned to Lu Lin. "When Su Yuehua comes to Flowing Snake, she will be your responsibility." Then Yi Mo said to Yi Mo, "Help me find a high-definition camera. I'm going to Hefeng. I want to see how capable the Yuan Bei Corporation is." Then Yi Mo seemed to have thought of something and asked, "Do we have someone to go to Lucé and Vietnam to discuss about the land?" Yu Miaodong immediately nodded. "As soon as our meeting is over, I will send people over." Yu Miaodong was also very worried about that. With her reply, Yi Mo felt assured. After these things were decided, Yi Mo went out to Flowing Snake. With the pursuit of Feng Nan and Yang Jiu, the situation was getting better. Although there were still all sorts of people there, there was no longer coerced business. A broken sword? Yemo stopped. It was a stall. The man who owned the stall was a man in his 30s. He had no power, but he had a faint sense of earth on him. He was probably a tomb raider. There were some antiques and jewelry on the ground, but what attracted Yi Mo's attention was that broken sword. Yi Mo knew this broken sword because it was him who broke it. When he first made his flying sword at Wuliang Mountain, he had met Zhang Zhihui and broke his sword. The broken sword was Zhang Zhihui's. He didn't kill Zhang Zhihui at the time and had just told him to go to the Broken Fist Hall. Instead of annihilating it, Zhang Zhihui took the broken sword with him at the time, but after he left, he had never seen him again. He even went to the Xianjiangzhang family, but still didn't see him there. Then he had been busy and never had the time to go to the Broken Fist Hall to check. Yet now, he saw his sword on that stall. Yi Mo was sure Zhang Zhihui cared a lot about his sword because when he broke it, Zhang Zhihui still took it with him. Seeing Yi Mo pick up this sword, the man immediately said, "This sword is very ancient. Although it's broken, it has great value. I don't understand it. That's why I'm selling it. If you're interested, I can give it to you for a cheap price." Yi Mo nodded. "Indeed, I'm interested in it, but you must tell me its origin before I buy it." Hearing this, the man started to talk incessantly. "This sword doesn't have a simple origin. I was with a few friends in the ancient ruins of the city Lulan Dash." The man still wanted to make up stories, but was stopped by Yi Mo's sneer. "If you keep making up shit, I will make you leave Flowing Snake immediately, or you can spend the rest of your life in prison here," Yi Mo threatened. Then Yi Mo realized that there was no prison in Flowing Snake, but it would be better if one was built. The man shivered. Although there was gold everywhere in Flowing Snake, the legal system wasn't complete there. If he went to prison there, he would never be able to get out. And if that man could say such words, it meant he was a local snake at Flowing Snake. "I'll tell you, I found this at the Qin Shao Mountain in Sichuan. I was with some friends doing business there, and found this in a valley." "What was around it?" Yi Mo asked. The man didn't dare to hide anything, and said there was some blood around it and broken clothes. It was probably from someone who had gone up the mountain alone and had encountered some beast. Yi Mo heard this and knew that Zhang Zhihui was unlikely to be alive. The headquarters of Broken Fist Hall was on the Qin Shao Mountain, but Yi Mo was aware of Zhang Zhihui's power, Earth-level middle stage. Yi Mo had killed the main leaders of the sect, and even if he hadn't, with Zhang Zhihui's power, he wouldn't have lost his life there. It seemed Zhang Zhihui had encountered someone tough. Since Zhang Zhihui had been working for him, and something had happened, he should go investigate for his sake. "How much is this sword?" "I'll take it," Yi Mo said. 1,000. "Wait, 500 is fine." He was scared that Yi Mo was a hoodlum. Yi Mo took out a 1,000 and gave it to the man. 1,000 is fine. Draw an image of the place where you found it. Chapter 438. Fully Seated. Chapter 438. Fully seated Yi Mo took the camera. Although he really wanted to finally spend one night with Ning Qingxue, Ning Qingxue also understood that it would be better to solve the problem early on. Before Yi Mo had left, Su Yuehua had brought her men to Flowing Snake. Yi Mo didn't feel rushed about the development of Flowing Snake. As long as he had money, it wouldn't matter. He knew of Su Yuehua's capabilities, and under her leadership, Flowing Snake would be changed day by day. What made Yi Mo worry the most was Flowing Snake's territory. If he wanted to expand Flowing Snake, he might even need to buy land from China. This wasn't the cultivation realm, so even though power was what rules overall, there were some other matters to take into account as well. Even when the states wanted to invade Iraq, they needed to do it in the name of justice. If this was the cultivation realm, then as long as you had power, people would do nothing but congratulate you even if you annihilated another sect. Over there, There was no such thing as giving help when needed. There was only throwing rocks when you were already at the bottom of a well. Although Yi Mo came from the cultivation realm, his principles entailed that if people didn't offend him, he wouldn't offend them. If they didn't want to sell him the land, he couldn't just go kill them. But Yi Mo also knew that since he'd opened up factories here, if Lucé and Vietnam didn't want to sell the land, it wouldn't be because of the land being precious, but because of them not getting enough benefits from him. Yi Mo shook his head. He decided to not think about it for now. Just as he put these thoughts to the back of his mind, he realized that he had arrived at Hefeng. Other than going to the Yuan family for evidence, he would be going to Shitong town to visit his friend Xiao. Hefeng's Yuan family wasn't ranked as one of the great families of China, but in Hefeng, they were the local snake and the biggest family. It could be said that Hefeng was Yuan family's territory. When Yi Mo came to Hefeng, he didn't go find Li Chunxing. Although he knew that Li Chunxing was the vice mayor, Yi Mo wanted to check whether he had done things as promised. Yuan Bay Corporation was situated next to the Wuhe Lake. Unlike other companies, behind Yuan Bay Corporation was where the Yuan family was based. They lived in a big manor-styled mansion, very spacious and grandiose. Yi Mo came to their office building, a 38-story building. When he walked in, it was fully packed. Most of the people present were executives who came to support Yuan Bay Corporation, as well as some upper-level members of the Yuan family, and a lot of important figures of Hefeng. Yi Mo might not know these people. He was sure that many of them would also be cooperating with Luo Yu. Yi Mo turned invisible as he entered the office of Yuan Jirong. Yi Mo knew that this kind of people liked to be in their office when discussing confidential matters. Yi Mo marked that office with his spirit sense and then went into the meeting rooms to leave spirit sense markers before leaving the mansion. He knew this would be Yuan Jirong's most glorious moment. No matter how contemptuous he was towards Luo Yu Corporation, he wouldn't spill his plans here. President Yuan, if China didn't have the supporting pillar of Yuan Bay Corporation, then this Luo Yu incident would have lost face for all of China. A fat man raised his glass of wine and said to Yuan Jirong. Yuan Jirong laughed. Ha, let's not discuss other companies today. The reason why Yuan Bay Corporation could have what it has today is due to credibility. These nefarious scandals were bound to be found out eventually. Unfortunately, it's the citizens, the people who suffer. Of course, Mayor Niu has been a constant support for us Yuan Bay Pharmaceuticals as well as a constant support for the people. Cheers, Mayor Niu. Then Yuan Jibei raised his cup to another middle-aged man. The man replied with a sigh, President Yuan Bay, you're being too polite. The reason why our Hefeng's finances can keep rising is all thanks to the support of Yuan Bay Corporation. A big pharmaceutical corporation takes many years of development to start up. Pity that many of our officials only look at the short-term benefits and don't take the long-term developments into consideration, nor do they consider the safety of our people. I agree to Mayor Niu's words. Although these words are very sharp, but what's up with Vice Mayor Li Chunxing wanting to bring in Luo Yu as soon as he came? Although he's doing this for the development of Hefeng's finances, I don't feel like Luo Yu is trustworthy. And indeed, it's only been how long, yet something dodgy appeared about, another very righteous-looking man said. At this moment, Mayor Niu raised his cup and said, Old Lu is a straightforward person. Today is President Yuan's family gathering, so let's not talk about politics. Drink, drink. Everyone grabbed their glasses and drank everything. The atmosphere grew vibrant on the tables. Yi Mo found a bar and kept his spirit sense on his spirit sense markers. If someone touched them, he would know. He believed that Yuan Jirong wouldn't just simply find so many people to drink with tonight for no reason. These people were all those loyal to Yuan Jirong. After drinking, they would talk about important matters. Sir, may I ask what you would like? A hot bar girl walked up to Yi Mo's seat and asked seductively. Anything will do. Yemo waved his hand. Huh? The girl was dazed. Anything? There were hundreds of wines in their bar, and their price difference was very high. This made things hard for her. I'll have 2 cups of blue flower blue leaf wine. Make it my count. A woman in her 30s walked up to the bar and sat next to Yemo. Blue flower blue leaf wine. Yemo was stunned. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.